strap in, because what you're about to hear, it just might change your life. Might clog an artery or two as you hear it. This is a life-changing moment.
Children gather around.
What do they call them? Watershed moments in life.
Buckle in, he says.
Yes, 100%.
Buckle in, he says. Click it or ticket, bucko. Okay, so fellas, Buc-ee's, long story short, is a gas station. But there's so much more than that. Scattered throughout Texas, as far as I know. It's kind of become this like, and I'll say national staple because Texas believes itself as so. And they're this massive, massive gas station where no semi trucks are allowed, only automobiles, trucks, regular trucks. And I swear there's like 120 gas pumps at these things. And
120?
Yeah. There's I'm serious. There's got to be triple digits of these things. They get gassed up, bruh. And the inside is just gas station Costco. I mean, you could shop there if you needed to. But there's also, all this novelty stuff that they, like I was telling J Mike, the shirts, the blankets, like I got this one here. They've got their massive fountain drinks. They sell brisket. They sell sandwiches. They sell kolaches, which is a whole nother story. They sell jerky, which, my goodness, I miss it. I need to just take a trip one of these days and go get myself some jerky. They've got little, what do they call them? Beaver nuggets, peace, love, and beaver nuggets, baby. Okay. They're flavored between like the sweet or the cheese kind. There's jams, there's dried fruit, there's candies, gummies. Honestly, the least thing that they have there, which is so weird to me, is the beer section. It's like incredibly weak. I never stop there for beer. They have like a few that are okay, I guess, but like it wouldn't be my first stop for beer. But like everything else is all Buc-ee's, baby.
Huh. I just looked it up too. So these are like corn puff snacks?
Yes, beaver nuggets.
Beaver nuggets.
Bro.
This is the whole state of Texas.
Yeah. It's basically an institution is what it is. So last summer I visited Texas for the first time, and Gabe, as a token of love toward me, brought a few different like a mixed bag of beers from the area, which they were delicious. But then also he brought like a sampler pack almost of kolaches, and I'd never heard of it. I'd never seen one. And the fact that they're so versatile and that they're like basically a fresh hot pocket.
Okay.
Right. So they're like, they can be savory, right? So like have all sorts of like ham, cheese, meat stuff in it, or like sausage and, whatever else. You can have like a breakfast kolache, or you can even have like sweet ones with like caramel apples, something inside. Like it's absurd how good it was. It really is.
Huh. I'm actually so I'm looking this up right now, and you can buy beaver nuggets on Amazon.
Let's go. Beaver nuggets, yes.
I'm gonna order me a bag of these beaver nuggets. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all right now. This is
I kind of like hate the name, like kind of weirds me out, but they taste so good. Oh man.
Hey, and they got on Amazon Prime too. Add to cart.
I am watching a YouTube video of Buc-ee's right now. They have a YouTube 21,000 views on this video.
What gas station around your block getting 21,000 views on some beaver nuggets, huh? Circle K ain't doing it for you. Speedway ain't doing it for you.
Pulling these type of numbers.
Man,
come and go. Come and stop.
Valero, no, I'm talking about.
Kroger's ain't got nothing on this.
Said go.
7-Eleven, more
No.
like never and Nevin. I don't know.
Ordering
But
It's the off
but
season.
the billboards are nuts too. Like when you going on I-35, whatever, I-20 I think is the southern one in Texas, but they let you know that Buc-ee's is coming. They're like 15 miles out, 30 miles out,
they don't
5, and they do like these cute little like slogans too of like, it's coming.
Wow.
Stop here, pull over now, and like they really get you, man. But Buc-ee's for life, baby.
Totally
do
getting
wanna
some of
give
these
you-
nuggets.
And let me know. Let me know how that works out for
What
you.
kind
Brandon,
did you get?
They're just the regular. They just say sweet corn puff snacks. They don't have
those are
any
good.
other flavors. At least
Okay.
I'm not seeing them. If they got some other ones though, let's figure this out.
the chat's already lit. Brandon Rojas, welcome back to the chat, my man. I know he said his work schedule changed, so he's back in the building with us. He's 100% co-signing your Beaver Nuggets love, Gabe. He said Beaver Nuggets go hard. He said they are totally worth it. So apparently he is a Texan, or at least knows about the swag down there for Bucky. So I'm with it. I'm with it.
Shout out to Brandon.
No, it's expanding, man. January 22nd,
They're,
it's going to Alabama and North Florida.
Man, they don't even.
And yeah, it's making its way your way, right, Chris? Down in Florida.
I'm in all the way down south, but if it's north, worth the trip.
Oh, they've
I'm
got
gonna
one in
figure this out.
Alabama. Okay. They out
on.
here. They out here.
We out here.
Oh my. Well, by the way, Christopher's Squared, we are live. It is the open bar. It is Tuesday. It is 9:30-ish. Always heavy on that part. Peace, love, and beaver nut. Peace, love, and beaver nuggets, baby.
Yes, sir.
We in here. I'm in a new location, J Mike. I've missed you. I've been so distant from you, but from here on out, things are changing. It's a new day. No, it's a new Gabe. All right. What's up, man?
I'm just happy to be back with you in your new digs. I'm excited you got that squared away. Congratulations. I know that moving is one of my top 5 anti-bucket lists things, and I've had to do it several times in my life. So I'm glad you're able to get it in and get it done. But more than anything, it's just good to see your face. It's good to be able to talk Buc-ee's. It's good to be able to see that T-shirt. Remember back when, just wonderful things from last summer, and being able to be introduced to Kalash's and to basically introduce the world, our friends here in the open bar, here in the chat with us, here who's listening on podcast form, whatever it may be, to introduce them to the greatness that is Buc-ee's. I'm a believer after one trip. I don't think that there's really anything close. And basically, I may need to move to Texas just to be with Buc-ee's. I mean, being closer to you is great, but Buc-ee's, like I said, is an institution.
It's like a friend benefit.
Basically, yes.
I just got bodied by a beaver. Okay.
I mean, my goodness.
Hey, double entendre though with the shirt. Bodied by a
Buc-ee's ain't
beaver.
no joke.
Yeah, so I'm excited. I'm pumped. I'm ready. Do you want to share what you have to say now, or to get it, popping, get people excited about it, or do you want to wait? What's you let the Twitter family know, like, look, guys, I'm gonna do something really intense here, and Gabe might not like it. I'm
not sure that's how I sounded. That's like a
what
like a knockoff
Twitter voice
a knockoff.
Right?
That's that's the knockoff Randy Savage. Is what you just did there,
brother.
Oh yeah. Let's introduce our guests first, and let's come back to that, because I don't want to be rude to our guests. A couple of folks who have been with us before, and I'm excited to chop it up with them to see who by the end of the show will be Chris number 1, and who by the end of the show will have the dishonorable mention of Chris number 2.
And this is what we were talking about before we, hashtag pressed play. we needed to figure out who exactly was the better Chris. And I don't think that we know. And we might have to go through a process of sorts tonight to figure this out. You know, we'll need some help from the chat, but I just don't feel comfortable kind of having one of the same, you know, without at least having a rank, you know. So completely kidding. Happy to have the Chris's on here. I'm going to start with Dynasty Mind Christopher. I'll try to differentiate here tonight.
That'll work.
Because you haven't been on for a long time, dude. Like, my goodness. How are you?
I'm doing well. Life's changed. Last time we talked was more than like, man, where was I?
I know.
Can't even remember.
Been a minute.
Are we sure it was in this lifetime? Could it have been a parallel universe? I don't know.
Well, I remember y'all and remember having a good time. I think that's the good thing about a return to the bar. It's having a good time.
Indeed. And fellow Piggy, right?
Well, retired now. I haven't done any content. We just retired 2 months ago, but still a big part of the family. Was really happy when you guys jumped on to the family as well. So I guess that's when I jumped on before you guys were part of the Fake Pigskin.
So I must ask, how are the benefits as a retiree? Like, is it really all it's cracked up to be? Are we?
I can be a bit more unfiltered without shaming our brand, but I don't think that's had happened yet. I've been making the Fake Pigskin proud, even though I'm retired. You'll find less control type of wittiness and fun on my Twitter timeline.
Fight the power.
Leaving, we're worried about, oh my gosh, what am I representing a Fake Pigskin fam?
So let loose, finally. That's what we've been waiting for. Unchained. See, that's already a pretty good little starter there, other Chris. I mean, are you able to say whatever you want? I don't know. Can you?
Ooh, I don't really know, because Adam normally checks me before I get too wild
right
on Twitter. So really, I mean, he might have me there. I mean, because I'm representing too many brands here nowadays. So I mean, I gotta keep it, I gotta keep it professional as much as possible. That's why I gotta be on here more often, so I can, cut loose for an hour or so.
Okay. Strong point there for Chris number 2, which is Chris versus Christopher. No, we're happy to have both of y'all here. We are missing a third guest. I was going to say fifth human. Doesn't have to be a human, I guess, but typically those are the kinds that we have on the show that provide the best analysis, conversations of sorts. But we take what we can get. Happy to have both of y'all on. J Mike, tell us. Just tell me if I'm going to be upset, if I'm going to be mad, if I'm going to, never going to want to talk to you, if I'm going to retire with Christopher and I'm just going to, ride off into the sunset. Tell me. Am I going to be upset? Tell me.
So let's do this. It's June 4th, and we're going to get crazy in honor of today being the 15th anniversary of my high school graduation.
Ooh.
I couldn't even get that one straight to the face. Truly, it is 15 years today. So in honor of that, I thought this. How about the folks who are in the chat or anyone that may jump into the chat at some point, if you have something that you'd like to talk about and you'd like to join us for a small portion of tonight's show, how about you let us know what you want to talk about? We see it in the chat. We shoot you a link to jump on with us, and we chop it up for a bit with whatever you want to talk about. How does that sound, Gabe?
Well, how does that sound, chat? Are they responding to this well? Because I'm with the chat tonight, honestly. Like, I don't even care what you say. I'm entirely with the chat. So if they want it, they've got it.
Bring it on.
The Chris's are
wonderful. Well, let's just remember real quick before we even move forward. Gabe again acknowledges that the chat exists. Just want to throw that out there. The truth tells on you. So
I just said I'm with the chat, so I could be with nothing.
That's true.
I mean,
that's fair. So while I figure out who's going to be the first to join us on a short term here, I do want to talk about something from our boy Brandon Rojas. He actually posed something on his timeline not moments ago, but a little bit earlier today. I just saw it moments ago, and I feel like it's a rather interesting proposition. It's a trade here, and I'm not necessarily big on Devi, but this is a pretty unique trade. And again, it circles around Gurley, who's someone that we are just all sorts of washing our hands of. But let's talk about it. So this is a Devi trade, 12 teams, super flex, PPR, 2 tight end premium. Okay. One side we have Derrick Henry, Rondale Moore, the super freshman from Purdue, 3 Devi depleted 2020 firsts, or Todd Gurley and Tua Tagovailoa. Superflex 12 team PPR tight end premium.
gosh, this is so intense. Looking at Devi, super flex, 2 tight end premium,
Right.
IDP too. God, man,
That's a lot.
That's my kind of jam. Okay, can you repeat the first part?
Oh yeah,
3
Derrick
Devi.
Henry.
Mhm.
Yep. Derrick Henry, Rondale Moore, so the freshman wide receiver from Purdue, who's all everything, and 3 2020 firsts, which will be Devi depleted. Or Todd Gurley, the recently deceased kneecaps of Todd Gurley, and Tua Tagovailoa, the quarterback from Bama.
Do have a question for Mr. Rojas. Rojas, right? Hopefully I'm
Yes.
saying it correctly. Are there restrictions as to what type of Devi players he's allowed to draft? Must they be eligible in the upcoming year, or can they be freshmen?
How depleted? How
That's a good
depleted
question.
is this depleted pool? That is a good question.
I
Can
went.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I did respond to this earlier, and I mean I am not in a Devi league. I read up and I listen to some Devi stuff, but I have yet to join one. So my opinion's certainly not going to be as sophisticated as Christopher's because he was already getting the pen out, getting fresh ink on the pen and pad to swing away on this one. But I initially, just surrounding all of this with Gurley, I initially went there just because it seems like that is so many. It's that whole narrative of 4 quarters for $1. And I feel like Tua, if anything, is kind of the strongest piece as far as like players that aren't pro yet between Moore and the 2021st Devi depleted. And we'll see how that works out. I haven't read anything in the chat about it, but my initial reaction was Gurley and Tua.
The Devi depleted part, I don't know whether it should or shouldn't scare me. I'm not in any Devi leagues anymore at this point. The one that I was in folded, sadly. But I feel like Gurley and Tua just feels really good to me.
That's beefy, man.
It is.
It's the best player and a guy who everyone's excited about at quarterback. Obviously, I like that a lot. And Rondale Moore, golly, he was so good last year. And the 320 first, like you could do a lot with that. Although it is Devi depleted, so that's kind of again not sure what that looks like. So yeah, give me the Gurley and Tua side,
especially the super flex part. I think that really kind of does it for me. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest part, because if you think Tua is the strongest piece out of that deal, then I mean, I think that's the best way to roll. I mean, I would, regardless of what you think about Gurley's knees, I don't think, and again, I'm not a doctor or anything like that, but I don't think that it's going to be a condition that's going to wind up. I don't think he's going to be out of the league like by next year or anything like that. So while his value is going to, I guess, decrease, I still think that if you're able to pick up somebody of Tua's caliber at that cost, I mean, yeah, I would side with the Gurley Tua portion of that deal.
Yeah, you all make a very strong point. First, kudos to the guy who is able to collect 2021 first. Those are mad hard to get in W leagues.
Right.
But it's a great point to state that Tua is already taken, and quarterbacks are extremely hard to hit on, regardless of the time. You could hit the next Christian Hackenberg if you want. We all remember Logan Thomas. Great 1 year showing and then completely disappeared. But I gotta say, this is interesting. Gurley and Tua are both on the negative side of narrative. Is Tua still great? People still have him up there, but people are questioning whether he's even the best quarterback coming into this year. I am of the opinion that Gurley is going to be fine. We just got news that his bell cow days are over, but I'm still of the very much high on him and for this year. So getting the Gurley and the Tua side, you're cashing in for this year and make people forget he has any concerns when he just rushes for 3 touchdowns and 200 yards in a game. And you can flip him back for these pieces because I think that side, the Gurley and Tua side, will be strong for you down the line come 2020 off season.
All right. Well, we have a guest. J Mike, it worked. You did it. You brought the chat to the open bar live every Tuesday.
What chat? What chat?
I don't. Well, see, this is what happened.
Don't encourage him, Tyler. Don't encourage him.
It's bad. No, it's bad because I sent you the link.
Yeah.
So
I don't know what chat he's talking about.
How was I able to do that? I don't know. But let's carry on from that. Tyler, what up, dude? How are you?
Nothing. Just on break, not at work. I don't do that. That's against work policy. I don't do that.
Right.
I mean,
But
that shirt, you're always working, baby.
yeah.
Yeah.
How's it going, everybody? You guys get you guys' SFB 9 invites at all?
Yes, sir.
Making me sad. Don't think I'm getting one this year.
Well, that backdrop.
Forgot about me all because I said I'm retired. So
He's on the call for like less than 2 minutes, and he goes in on his backdrop.
He wasted no time. He wasted
Love you,
no
seriously.
time.
love you.
I think my mom's got that dress pattern.
I dig it.
That's
All for you,
part
man.
of the
It's blazing.
shout out to Tim Turner. Yeah, wherever Tim Turner is, shout out to Tim Turner.
God,
That's
I miss that
definitely
guy.
from the Martha Stewart Jailhouse collection that he has at his house. That is 100%.
Indeed.
100%.
Tim Turner's probably the oldest,
reference.
youngest looking guy I've ever met, like ever seen in my life. Like that dude, it looks young, but he's like 58 years old. I swear.
That wouldn't surprise me at all.
And then there's me, who's 32, and I look like I'm about 64 or so, give or take.
Nah, man, you look like a maybe an older version of Sean McVay. You got that look on
There
you.
you go.
Scarf
Oh,
McVay.
man, Chris, don't be encouraging him, man.
No,
I know.
I'm eating that. I'm eating that
completely
up.
trashed you, and then
Killing him with kindness, even though he's
killing him with
my
kindness. Yeah,
backdrop.
exactly. Yeah.
That's supposed to be me. I'm from Minnesota. Now I feel like an idiot. You know, there's an edible arrangement on your way. I'm sorry.
Tyler, while we have you for a few minutes, what do you want to talk about? What's something you want to chop up real quick?
Well, you guys are talking about Todd Gurley. Let's talk about his new rookie backfield mate, Darrell Henderson. And just, I have 3 rookie drafts that are home leagues coming up, and I would not be shocked if he's like 106 or 105, just because the scarcity at running back in the position. Everybody needs a running back, so I could see him really jumping up and moving into the middle of the first round, where you see him going. What I saw him latest probably 207 in a draft. So I just think the rise is extreme, like an Amir Abdullah type rise. We're seeing from Darrell Henderson.
Except you don't have to see
rise is
the
real.
preseason cut for a touchdown.
Hey, that cut was real. The cut hurt around the world.
The rise is real, and that's super interesting to see how. I wonder if DLF and Chris, you're probably someone who obviously Alan, not you're probably someone who's in tune. Has the June ADP information dropped yet for DLF? I'm checking now.
I saw Mr. McDowell tweeting about it earlier today, actually, but I haven't been able to check the site. But I do believe that information is available.
It is. I just tried to pull up June. Sadly, it's still blank. But if we look back at May,
round one, he tweeted out round one.
Oh, okay.
Let me give you an update. I'm in the middle of 2 drafts and one with full IDP. He's 108.
Wow,
man,
goodness gracious.
Yeah, I'm also in a rookie draft. I think he went at 108 in mine as well, and it was the league I was mentioning to you, J Mike. It mixes the free agents in, so Damian Williams was out there and Philip Lindsay, and that's kind of all that mattered as far as that range of Darrell Henderson. But Darrell Henderson went at 108, which is really like a 106 if it were just rookies. So
Speaking of Damian Williams, I'm going to be here all season eating popcorn, waiting for the fall to happen on him, waiting for the wheels to completely fall off, because has there been any more of an obvious thing that we've seen that Damian Williams is not the real deal? I don't think there is. The writing's on the wall. I think he's just a guy, and that offense can make a guy look good.
Wow. How long did it take for us to get someone on that fucking agrees with me?
Just brings the heat.
That's
Gabe,
why
I've been begging to come on. I've been begging to come on for months because I hear people against you, and I need to back you up.
I appreciate you. As much as
I'm there rubbing your shoulders, buddy.
Oh, jeez. Where's that?
Got the softest hands.
This is an open bar, right? This is a complete open bar.
What is happening?
Wide open.
This is the open spa. Well, as much as I appreciate that, and want to talk about how much I don't think Damian Williams will work, I still don't want to talk about it. Real quick with the unless y'all want, do you have anything to say about Damian Williams that you just need to belt out?
No,
Please, somebody.
We've been doing this back and forth, or I've been reading back and forth on Damian Williams for weeks. We just gotta wait for the season to start.
Gotta wait for the season. That's right.
It's too much.
Carlos Hyde, RB1. All right. So I was scrolling through McDowell.
Dude that got cut from the Jaguars, RB1.
Uh-oh.
I saw
I didn't say that out loud.
Raquel.
Yes.
Raquel Armstead.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I say Raquel, I feel like I don't know. It doesn't sound right. But like I just want to make it sound more flowy, like Raquel. But anyways, it looks like he tweaked his knee, so hopefully he's all right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anyways, guys, let me speak. So let me say something. I was scrolling through Ryan McDowell tweets looking for ADP, and I remembered a poll that he did the other day about Todd Gurley in round 2 or Darrell Henderson in round 8 in a startup, and it was very, very close. Any thoughts on that?
Who?
Excuse me?
I didn't actually hear the question. I was busy looking to see if I had any work I had to do.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, stupid question. Never. You know what? Forget I said anything.
You know what? I'm full attention to you, Gabe. Ask me again.
First you were behind him, now you're ignoring him. I mean, Tyler, come on, man.
Talk to me like I'm 5 years old.
So normal, or
you know what? That hurt my feelings. That really hurt my feelings.
Okay, Sean. Calm down, Sean.
I was kind of mad that you weren't listening to me, so I had to say something.
Wait, what?
Never mind. Okay. The poll is Todd Gurley in round 2, Darrell Henderson in round 8 in a startup. What do y'all like?
Gurley.
Yeah, give me Gurley.
We're still good with Gurley, right?
I'll take Gurley in a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably go Gurley in the second.
How many Daryl Henderson fans do we have in here?
You mean
I
Tevin
like-
Coleman?
Right.
I
do
like
like
Daryl
Tevin
Henderson
Coleman.
too. I always hated that landing spot because of Gurley, I guess. I like it in terms of the offense, and that is kind of really perfect for him. But I'm just bummed that it's behind Gurley. But now we're like in this situation of, is he really behind Gurley or is he sharing? And they
I mean, so is John
only
Kelly
use him like
dead?
Alvin Kamara. It's like,
Right. See,
Like, did John Kelly die? I mean, what
They
happened?
treated John Kelly like he was dead last year, Chris.
So he's just gonna roll in and just be immediately the number 2. I mean, I just have a hard time believing that, guys.
I bet it's between him and Malcolm Brown. It's not John Kelly. Okay, come on.
Malcolm Brown's a good running back. I mean, they matched that offer right
Yeah.
away, so he's a good running back.
Yeah.
like my take is that all three will be involved if Gurley ever misses time. It's not going to be handed to Henderson. I mean, this guy is just doing all his stats at what AAC conference. Give me a break.
Yeah, what big holes. I mean, people don't even realize the size of the holes Henderson had to run through, and that you got to look at that division. That division has some pretty good defense. San Fran defense got better. Seattle's defense is always tough against the run, and Arizona's defense should rebound with Vance Joseph, I think, is a defensive coordinator now, and he's a very good defensive mind. So I could see that defense being good with Terrell Suggs on the outside now too.
The super duper flex in the chat. What up, Mr. McCarthy? He hits us with, he thinks that Henderson's going to be the change of pace regardless of Gurley's health. Do you all think that Darrell Henderson will have any sort of standalone value, like as a flex play for you coming into the season? Because if he does, like if he does have flex appeal in year one, or people think that he may, then if it's flex appeal now with the upside of getting a larger workload in the event Todd Gurley gets hurt or scales back, then maybe he is worth that first round pick that people are throwing out. Would he not be?
I mean, that's where I would be hard pressed to believe that Malcolm Brown or some combination of Brown, maybe throw in some Kelly here and there. Like they become, it just turns into a full blown committee. And I can't see Henderson just having that standalone value if Gurley were to be shut down, like out for 4 or 5 or out for a stretch or something like that. I just don't see that.
I think people are just taking what CJ Anderson did last leg of the season, trying to copy paste on a younger, faster, supposedly rookie. All this talk about them trading them up. I've been through a lot of players that teams traded up for and did not pan out. So I'm not going to be jumping on this bandwagon that he's a 1,000-yard rusher right off the bat, even if Gurley misses time.
No. I would see it as a Devonta Freeman, Tevin Coleman style committee. And I wouldn't be bad. Like, what's wrong with that with both of them? Todd Gurley's still going to get 250 touches in that year. He's still going to produce as an RB1. And then Henderson will have some flex value here and there and good matchups. So I could see that's the reason why Henderson. But going at like 108, 105 or so, there's still some better players I'd rather take. And I think his value is getting too steep.
Yeah.
Do you think that if people, I don't know, let's just kind of assume for a moment that we know where Gurley and Henderson land at the end of the season in terms of their rank. Like Gurley is the 5th overall running back in scoring. Henderson is the 24th overall. Do we still feel comfortable at where he's being drafted? Do we think that he should rise? Should he fall or stay? Like, is it really that Henderson is there, or is it the fact that it's still Gurley's knees? Like, can we eliminate that problem for a second and just talk about the longevity of him in the league? Or like, if we know that they can coexist, are we cool with that?
Yes, I am, and I'm not even the biggest Henderson fan. I don't dislike him per se, but if if he's going to be, and that's why I asked the question about the standalone value, is if for whatever reason, because right now in May ADP, he's already, and this is before Super Duper Hype Train, right? He was already going as running back number 35. Running back 35. What do you guys? I mean, legitimately, he could end up being a top 25 running back in ADP come June. I mean, whenever it drops, like it's going to be shocking how meteoric his rise is going to be. Like right now, he's going behind the likes of Tevin Coleman, James White, and Royce Freeman. Would you rather have him over any of three of those guys, Tevin, James White, or Royce Freeman?
White, yes. Freeman, nah. Coleman, probably not either, to be quite honest with you. I think it's close.
I think Royce is close, but you got to take him over James White.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No, yeah. I take Hendo over White, but Coleman.
See, I'm actually opposite of that. I would take James White over Henderson because I think the PPR value of James White is always going to be there. I mean, you got Damian Harris, who I know J Mike you're a big fan of, and even though you declined my trade without any
Look,
counter.
man, don't
Gotta bring up business.
Oh, that's what he came in here for. Okay.
Yeah, he
was waiting for
Was he
Yeah.
putting around and now?
Yeah. So he sends me. Speaking of Royce Freeman and Damian Harris, I've solely between listening to Chris Allen and listening to Dynasty Outhouse over the last probably year specifically, I have strayed so far away from player for player trade straight up in terms of same position. I don't want to do that because at the end of the day, I find that there is going to be typically one clear winner and one clear loser. If typically I'm going to make it to where I want either a different position like a wide receiver if I'm trading a running back, or I'm going to tier up or tier down, right? So in terms of getting however you break it down, I don't necessarily want running back for running back. So yes, I gave you the stiff arm, Tyler. I'm probably going to counter. Probably. I don't know.
It's okay. You just hate Damian Harris. I understand. You just
you know what? Gabe, get him out of here. Slant. Bye. Bye.
Do we have another
Love you,
guest
Tyler.
that we can get here?
We love you, Tyler.
Jeez.
Yeah, I'm gonna reach out, see if we can grab somebody else. Anything you want to share, Tyler, before you get deuced up out of here?
No, thanks for having me on once again. I miss you guys at DHH, but I'm so glad to see you guys spreading your wings and flying alone. Just what the hell was that game?
That was chicken or crow, baby.
One of the two. Oh my god.
But no, Chris, I love the shirt. Got the same one.
Yes, sir.
And the other Chris, I'm sorry about the backdrop, man, but it was coming. It was coming.
I mean, I'm enjoying the edible arrangement soon, so I'm good.
Yeah, I should order that. Do you think they got a clearance run, like a couple days old?
Yeah.
Is it cold in Minnesota? You can't get fresh fruit.
It's so hot up here right now. It's like 90 degrees. I'm frying. I need sunscreen.
Oh man.
Boy, bye.
Boy,
See you guys.
bye. All right. That's enough for that. Oh my goodness. 2-day-old edible arrangements. Come on.
Tyler bringing that heat.
Child, please.
Love it.
All right.
Minnesota hospitality, right there.
Before we run too far away from James White, something interesting I just looked up on his Pro Football Reference page. He's been increasing in touches pretty much every year. Last year, he ended up being targeted. This can't be right. This is saying he was targeted 123 times last year.
That sounds about right.
That's not
Really?
actually that surprising, though. I mean, given the state of that offense,
Yeah.
I mean, who did they really have to throw to with Gronk being injured for a large portion of it? And it was just Julian Edelman and, I mean, what, Dorsett? I mean, who else did
He
they
led
really
the
have to throw?
team.
Yes, he did lead the team. That's all those short yardage.
Right, and that's what anchoring, or booing his value is that he's been pummeled with so many targets, but it was injury dependent. I mean, Rex Burkhead didn't really come back until essentially the playoffs. I mean, Michelle was out for how many games last season? And so, I mean, he's that guy that's going to catch those passes, and I mean that's great. But for paying that cost for that type of archetype, I mean that's a lot, man.
It's
It
a
really
spike.
is.
It's a spike in his production, definitely, when you look over his career.
I think you just got to consider that he's not exactly a running back. That I mean, you can put that into your starting lineup, fortunately, in a PPR league. But I just don't think that we're even looking at it like that, or should we, or that we even should be, because it's more of like a lesser version of Kamara, I suppose. But yeah, I don't know. I'd certainly be sweating it still.
So do you guys think that number in terms of him going as running back 33, and maybe this last season was a perfect storm, but when you look at it, his numbers just steadily increase year by year. I guess that's the part that just messed with me the most, is that I didn't recognize that he led the team in receptions or targets. Like I remember that stretch where he was fantastic, and he kind of tapered off when Sony started gearing up. I think that was around the same time. I can't specifically remember, but the fact that the man had 87 catches last year, 94 runs or rushes. What was it, 2 years ago when Duke Johnson was a running back one, when he had around that same number of touches? And I don't remember where James White finished last year, but it seems like every year, and I think Tariq Cohen was similar last year, 90 some odd catches, or 90 some odd targets or catches, 90 some odd rushing attempts, right around that threshold. So it feels like every year there's one guy, like kind of the which one of these is not like the other, right? The RB1 or the fringe RB1 who's super involved in the pass game and gets just enough rushes to be relevant. Weekly, I don't know what that looks like, and I'm curious to go back and look at his game log. But that's I totally missed him leading them, James White leading in receiving last year. That's shocking.
It was from weeks basically 6 to about 10 where he was probably averaging somewhere between 13, 14, 15 touches like per game. But then when you look at his game logs from like weeks like 13 on, he had like 8 in week 13, 9 in week 14. I see 12 in week 15, but then week 16 he had like 9. So it's like he was tapering back as Michelle started to come back, Burkhead was coming back, and it's like, yeah, on a week-to-week, like if you look at his cumulative numbers over the season, yeah, it's ticking up, but on a week-to-week basis, I mean, unless you're playing in a best ball league, I mean, how confident are you starting him if you assume that they're going to have 4 running backs at their disposal to put in this year? I just don't see it. I mean, that's the game that we play every year with Patriots running backs.
Of course, absolutely. I get the sentiment, J. Mike, because I own a share of James White in one of my better dynasty leagues, and it's surprising how productive he was and how I could start him basically every week up until December happened. But you gotta know that this might look a little bit like a career type of production that he's putting, and I for one am expecting a regression with the addition of so many different weapons.
That's fair. I just find it really interesting that he's basically trended up every year. I just find that really interesting. Gabe, looks like we have a new visitor here.
Who?
Mr. Brandon Rojas. Brandon, what's cracking?
Brandon.
Good. Just finished working out about an hour ago. First off, agree with Gabe's take. Bucky's is the best. Beaver Nuggets for the win.
Peace.
So now I gotta order these beaver nuggets, man. Y'all got me convinced.
You said you did, man.
I mean that seals the deal. I mean, I'm happy with my purchase.
All right.
Yeah, trust me. Anybody in Texas knows if you go to Bucky's, it's almost a guarantee that you also have to get a Bucky's shirt. I mean, It's just part of the culture.
I got a buddy that lives in San Antonio, and I got a buddy that lives in Amarillo. I'm about to text both of them and see if they know about this Buc-ee's.
That's, and I'm telling you, Chris, I cannot undersell the institution that it is. Like it's almost like if you remember when Walmart kind of was first becoming a big deal before they were like superstores, like that's what Buc-ee's is. Like Buc-ee's looks like like a budding Walmart. It's so absurd. It's just so absurd. Anyway,
Gas.
well, yeah, with gas.
Okay.
The gas game on lock and the kalash. I'm hungry. Anyway, Brandon, what do you? I'm so hungry. Brandon, what do you want to talk about, man?
I guess we could talk about that trade. Also, J-Mike, the poll I posted on Twitter about the mustard versus mayo, I think we have to discuss about that too.
Yes, we definitely have to talk about that because my guess is we're gonna have at least one person who's gonna screw it up for everybody. But anyway, let's start with the trade. Where do you want to go with that?
I was on the side that gave up Tua and Gurley, and I don't know. For me, I felt like it was pretty fair value because I got Todd Gurley at. Hold on, let me check real quick. I took him in the second round, so he fell in our startup draft. Let's see, I got him at 205 in our startup draft, so I got him for a steal, I would say. But I don't know, the offer that I got, though I'm not a big Derrick Henry fan, I feel like his value is pretty solid enough to where even if I don't like him, I can flip him. And the way I looked at the trade is essentially I traded Gurley for Henry and picked up 2 firsts, and Tua for Moore and picked up another first. Because Rondell Moore in our Devy draft was a second-round pick, even though he's my third-rated wide receiver when it comes to Devy. I think he's just behind Judy and Shelnup.
Chanel, I got it.
Yeah, thoughts, fellas.
At least on my end, I don't hate it because I think we could all agree that while most of us sided like on the Tua Gurley side, I don't think that it's like completely. I don't think it's a lopsided deal. So with the way that you've explained it, I mean, I don't think your process like for coming to that conclusion is totally off. I think it's close. I mean, my personal preference led me to Tua, but I don't think you were that far off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and another kind of help felt because trading Tua was difficult for me, but the fact that I also was able to pick up Jake Fromm in a deal earlier for what I felt was really good value made it easier to move on from Tua, still knowing that I have a potential top quarterback in this upcoming class.
So help me understand. When you said Devy depleted, is there some sort of restriction of what type of Devy players you're allowed to draft?
Oh no, it's just that, and it's just for our 2020 rookie draft. It's just basically saying that some players won't be available because they were selected as Devy. That's what they meant by Devy.
The 2020. I mean, I love the incoming freshmen. So you have a glut of value there with the 2021 first Devy because I like the incoming class. I like the 2022 class. I like the 2023 class.
Yeah, it's because there were 3 2020 rookie first round picks, but I mean. Even though yeah, some of the big names will be on rosters already because of Devy, I just feel like the 2020 class is so deep that even though it might be guys who would be typical second round picks in normal rookie drafts, I still think I would rather trade a late 2019 first or a 2020 second. Like that's just my opinion on the 2020 class. I think it's so deep, so I was fine picking up 3 first.
And
give me all the 8th graders. Give me all the 8th graders. I'm kidding.
I mean, I would also be remiss if I didn't say I agree with Chris's sentiment that the process is sound. I like the way you think of value and understanding where you're at, because the side that you get will probably be looked at as more valuable right now. Everyone is having those negative talk of Tua and Gurley right now. So when it comes to flipping these pieces around, you have way more flexibility. Love Rondell Moore, and you'll find surprises as the classes come along, and you'll see which players are going to sustain their fantasy value, which are going to sustain their hype as you go on, and people will try to buy those picks back if you're not using them.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Like, I mean, I'm watching on the pro Gurley side. Like, I think his value and his production won't dip as much as everybody's like anticipating, but the fact that I was able to get pretty solid value for it just makes it easier to get it. I have Gurley on some other teams, and I'm contenders with those, so I'm holding Todd Gurley. But It's just a very complicated situation right now. I think if you have Gurley and you're a contender, you hold. And really, even if you're not, it's hard to sell him because no one's going to give you anywhere close to what his value should be.
Yeah, and I think that's the right way to look at it, because if you're still able, regardless of what you think about Gurley's health or even just his situation with the addition of Hendo and all that, if you're still able to recoup, let's say even 60 to 70%, of his value, or what you believe his value to be worth, which I think you've done here, then I think that's on the right track. I think that's the way you should go about doing that.
Yeah, because like I said, I'm not the biggest Derrick Henry fan, but I feel like if I were to trade Henry, it'd be a lot easier than to potentially try and move Gurley.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree.
I think there's a lot of people that might feel safer with Derrick Henry going into the season versus Todd Gurley, just with all of this kind of happening. And he's obviously a much cheaper price, and he could get the same workload as Todd Gurley this year, which and that dude's just a rock. Like it doesn't seem like he's gonna ever break down.
Yeah.
Right.
Like Gurley might be, and Henry might be the least riskiest person in that deal. Like you know nothing about the Devy guys yet, technically, and Gurley with the knees. So I mean, there's that aspect too. And I think that Henry can really only rise from here unless he completely vomits like T-Rich or something. But
oh, that'd be so sad.
Yeah.
One of the things that, and again, just referencing the one Devy league. Well, obviously, Picks 3 has Devy as well, but the one league that I was in that had Devy and normal picks and things of that nature. One of the things that I can't gauge for or feel great about is that, as excited as I am about someone who's in college, like a Rondale Moore or Tua or whomever else, they're not giving me points now, which is one of the kind of frustrating things a little bit. And I don't know how to gauge that specific value for someone who, I think Rondale Moore, I'm pretty sure he can't even come out this year. I'm pretty sure he's one of those guys that has
He's
to,
a freshman.
like,
Yeah,
early
he's
thing
not
come out
out.
is 2021. Yeah, so he can't even come out until 2021. So there's just so much life that can happen, and he's so good. He's so talented. I get that, and I'm a big fan of his. But when it comes to these type of trades, I guess the things that I think about and have to weigh, and Chris, as someone who, Mr. Allen, as someone who has heard so many different perspectives as it pertains to strategies on Owner's Manual, the things that I weigh when I think about Devy, is my league going to last? What's the probability that my league lasts? How much? And maybe someone's done a study on this, but what does it look like for for someone's value or who they are as a collegiate athlete to change from freshman through when they actually come out? What does that look like? And just simply that time frame, because with Gurley, whether and I'm not hating on the trade at all, Brandon. I'm just kind of talking through my mindset. With Gurley, I know that I have a premium asset right now. No matter what, that's one thing that I know about this trade, is that I have Gurley. He is a premium asset. Maybe not RB1, but he's still someone that can fetch whatever, most likely whatever you want. So when it comes to Devy, those are the things that I think about. And I find it almost feels like with Devy, either people are super heavy into acquiring Devy players, or they're more averse to getting rid of them and pushing that hope and the thoughts of what could be forward in their leagues. And I'm curious your all's thoughts on that, or if I'm overthinking it, or whatever you see there.
Not at all. I think that is the mindset that I'm going into. You have to know that Devy are a risk. We have great players with great athletic profiles, with great promises, showing up well in their first year, and then you'll suddenly find them being talked about as second, third rounders, and that happens more often than we thought. It's fun to speculate, and that's why we play this game, right? We love the draft, we love the rookies, we love the unknowns. But certainly for all Devy players that I've spoke to, they know the risk of drafting someone as early as their freshman year and hoping that they'll hit in. But again, I think what helps you is to keep that mindset. How long will my league last? Will I be able to cash in? Will this pan out? Just go over that process. Go over your thinking. If it still checks out for you, you've done the best what you can in this trade, and I'm be happy with it. I've gone through a thinking process instead of just trying to figure it out as quick as possible if I won the trade or not.
Yeah, I think if your main concern was trying to just offload Gurley and that was like your main incentive towards doing the deal, I think that would be kind of the wrong way of looking at it. I mean, if it's more about trying to recoup value and also trying to look at the assets that you can pick up in the deal. So I think, again, process sound, and then also, yeah, J Mike, I agree that these are things that you do need to factor in. I mean, I think you put it perfectly earlier when you're saying there's just so much life that can happen between now and 2021. I mean, what the president of the NFLPA is talking about possible lockout in a couple of years. I mean, you don't know if your actual like fantasy leagues are going to be still active in a couple of years. I mean, there's just a lot of things that can happen between now and the time that you're ready to cash in on some of these Debbie picks. So yeah, you should probably take that into account before trying to invest in something that you'll never be able to cash in on. So no, I think that's, while it sounds, I don't know, quote unquote meta to try and, galaxy brain your way into thinking about some of these trades. I mean, they're things that we have to consider.
Yeah, for sure.
What you just said though, with the assets, like that's, and Brandon, that's what you just did though, by getting those 3 2021sts and Rondale Moore, someone who is looked at as highly as anyone. You've got this kind of bundle of assets, and while some people may be averse to even wanting a piece of it, like there are going to be people who are like, get me in on the 2020 draft. I don't care that it's Debbie depleted. Get me in on Rondale Moore because he's awesome. So you've got a lot of versatility now. That's a lot of fun too. Like this, that's some of the best parts of Dynasty. You just do so many different things, so many directions. I love it. Anyway, Brandon, you were saying.
Yeah, and like I said with Todd Gurley, like I still think even if the Rams have him on like a pitch count, I still think he's going to be a top 12 running back. So I agree that he still is a top asset. But again, like my thinking was, like I can recoup a good majority of that value, and again, it gives me more flexibility. All the pieces I got in return, I feel like more movable. So say midseason, if I'm a contender, I now have a total of 4 2021st because I got 3 and then including my own. I could use some of these first to go and acquire some players that could help make me push for a title, or if not, I could just sit back and cash in on some of these picks and just see what happens. I think there's still, like I said, a good talent pool because that 2020 class is just so good and so deep that there'll still be players who will be first round picks in regular 2020 drafts that'll still be available. I mean, a good example is in most leagues, Josh Jacobs wasn't even rostered in most Debbie leagues, and for many people, he's the clear 101, though I'm team N'Keal Harry.
There you go. Good man. Good man.
Brandon, can we get to your you just made some friends with that one. Brandon, can we talk about your hot dog take and can you walk us through that for a minute? Or your tweet about that? I'm curious what these guys have to say about it.
Okay, yeah. So I was at a little family get together today and hot dogs. So I was talking with my sister and asked her, being the nice brother and person I am, I was like, I'll make you your hot dogs. What condiments do you want? She's like, just mayonnaise, and I almost threw up in my mouth. Like,
no, absolutely not.
I thought we were talking ketchup and mustard. How did mayonnaise come into talk?
I'm a person who mustard's the way to go. Every now and then if you want some ketchup, but the fact that she asked for mayonnaise on her hot dog just threw me completely off. I almost disowned her right there on the spot.
No. We're not doing that.
This is unhealthy.
That is the devil. No, sir.
Oh
No.
I'll disown her for you.
Yeah.
Hey, J Mike, you gonna come in with that Miracle Whip?
Oh man. Look, man. As much as I like Miracle Whip and as much of a fan as I am of that, no, I will not. I will not be putting Miracle Whip on my hot dogs. And shout out to
not even saying it in the same.
Shout out to our guy Bobby Koch. who and Chris Fobida, who when we were ragging on them for their love of mustard, but on a hot dog, man, come on, gotta have that mustard, gotta have that.
Well, mustard. I mean, I'll be honest here. On my hot dogs, for the longest time, I was very basic and would just if we're just doing a hot dog with condiments on it, there's a whole nother way you can go with that. And actually, I'm going to tell you guys something that's going to freak you out in a second.
Uh-oh.
Don't let me forget. But I used to be very basic and just do ketchup on my hot dog. And then in my last trip to New York, I was kind of persuaded to do mustard and mustard only because that's the New York thing. And just straight mustard. That's it. No ketchup, whatever, just straight mustard. And like, I'm not a huge, like I enjoy mustard a lot actually, but I think I like it on specific things. And I didn't think of hot dogs as being one of those things because I always considered the combination of ketchup and mustard. But mustard on its own, bro, on a hot dog, that is legitimately one of the best things. I'm surprised I missed out on it for so long.
Go ahead, sorry.
Are you guys ready for this though?
Go for it.
I think I know where you're going. I'm excited.
Oh boy.
Really? No way.
Maybe.
You wouldn't know.
Oh,
no way.
Okay, never mind. I'm thinking of something else.
You certainly could, but I just would be surprised if
I'm waiting.
Okay. All right. Anyways, so another New York story. In fact, it was about 5 years ago. There used to be this place in like East Village called Asia Dogs, and they kind of had unique takes on hot dogs. Like they would do different kind of toppings on them. The one that I had that I kind of brought home and made my own was aioli, which if you're familiar with a ghetto aioli, it's going to be mayonnaise. If you're familiar with a very nice aioli, you can do yogurts of sorts, or like even like go completely organic and kind of make your own aioli, but it's kind of a mayonnaise essentially. And cucumbers, carrots, and pickled jalapenos were on this one. And guys,
yes,
I'm telling you, it is so good. Like if you ever have the time to like not just like throw hot dogs on a grill, put mustard on it, whatever, but just if you got the time to like make these, they're seriously so good. It is the weirdest shit, but it's delicious. It's like cool. It's got that like cool vibe from the cucumbers and the carrots, but like it's a garlic aioli. So like the
bit of
garlic
flavor
coming in too. Like, oh man, my goodness, it's
all
nuts.
the garlic.
Yeah.
Garlic.
So it's not so much like a mayonnaise take, but like it made me think of it, which is hilarious because you can do it, but you got to do it right.
No, I think that works. I mean, that sounds good. I've seen a couple when I was out on the West Coast last year in Seattle. They had there was like an Asian dog like type of like hot dog stand, and they put like lo mein on top of their hot dogs.
Oh my!
I mean, just all sorts of wild stuff. And I was going to town. It was good stuff. But yeah, I'm with you there.
It sounds like some hipster thing, but the combination you described
it was East Village, so you're right. Yeah.
The combination you described, I can see it working. Might not rank high up there. I might tweak it a little bit, but it sounds doable. It doesn't sound like mayonnaise on a hot dog.
Yeah, that's some psychopath shit right there.
Yeah, that's the main point. It's not
and apologies to your sister. She's not.
No apologies needed. Like when I get creative with my hot dogs, what I like to do is we call it hot dogs like Mexicana. Pretty much, we dice up tomatoes, onions, and jalapenos, and just sprinkle that on the hot dog, and
I'll take that too.
It works perfectly.
Yeah.
Like
that sounds like an amazing relish.
Oh yeah, that sounds delicious.
It is amazing, but yeah, fact. And right now on the Twitter poll too, mustard is only winning 54 to 46%.
Oh,
like it's a slight lead. And
how many votes are on this thing? I didn't see this 41 one from you.
41. Like I just can't believe it. I was like, mustard should be blowing this. It should be at least 70%.
Yeah, we need more votes on here because that's just not going to work for me. That can't be right.
Maybe it's a South Texas thing. That's why I quote tweeted saying anybody who picked Mayo, excuse me, like announce yourself so I can like unfollow you because this is like this is out of hand. Like
Not even block, but just unfollow, huh?
Right.
Yeah,
Not
Rojas plays for keeps, man. This ain't no game out here.
That is
we ain't playing no games.
Yeah, that is ruthless.
J-Mac, what were you about to say?
I think I'll save it, actually.
Okay.
I'll save it.
Perfect.
Rojas, good looking out, man. Thanks for chopping it up with us.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Do we have others lined up in the chamber?
Currently, no.
Oh.
I thought we had a couple, but we'll see what happens in the next few minutes, maybe.
All right.
For those that are joining the show and weren't sure as to kind of what we're talking about, anybody in the chat, you guys who show us love week in and week out, we're showing some love today. If you want to come on and join the Chris's and Gabe and myself on the show for a bit just to chop it up, and essentially let us know, and we'll send you the link, and you can come chop it up, and we can talk about whatever you want to talk about this evening, because it's No Rules Tuesday. That's not really a thing. It just sounded really good.
Right.
And in retrospect, it actually didn't even really sound that good. But anyhow,
you just had to let it go.
Thanks again, Brandon. It just didn't feel right in my soul. It didn't feel right.
Living your truth.
Maybe you should have just blended it and should have said No Rules Days.
Yeah.
Does that feel better?
I liked it.
I don't know. I'm trying to help you out here. I'm trying to make you feel better, man.
Nope, just not happening.
Try to lift them up.
All right, Kalash is on the way.
Man. All right, take care, Brandon.
All right, take care, guys.
All right. Another one ejected. Another one bites the dust. That one hurt a little more to get rid of rather than the Gunth, because he was just throwing shade left and right.
He came in
Gunth's blazing, indeed. All right. So what's next? What do we got? Things. Anything?
We never asked the Chris what they wanted to talk about. What do you guys want to talk about?
Yeah, you guys got anything on your mind? Did you bring the show sheet? Did y'all do a dual show sheet thing, like a Chris sheet?
No, you know how our show is with our ridiculous show sheets. So I'm taking a day off from creating show sheets, man. Like we can't be doing it all the time. Tonight's the night for Adam's not here to keep me in check. I don't have to do any additional work. It's my day off.
All right.
I'm just here to spit takes.
Seriously. You just sit back then. Sit back, relax, partner.
Yeah.
Speaking of takes, I do want to get your thoughts on this. And this will be the briefest of games. Last year, when it comes to quarterbacks, and we will actually omit one Ryan Fitzpatrick, just to not have you stumbling here. I will give you 3 guesses at who the quarterbacks were in terms of fantasy points per game. Again, 3 guesses at who was in the top 5 last season.
Points per game, you say?
Points per game.
I'll take the first one. Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes, numero uno. As easy as can be. Next up, who y'all got?
Ryan.
Matt Ryan, number 2 at 22.1 points per game. 4 points behind Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, I'm gonna be the one with the wrong answer. Let's go with
top five finish from
Breeze.
Points per game.
Yeah, Breeze got to be.
Drew Brees on the outside looking in. He was actually 7th at 20.3 points per game last year.
Well, if
Technically
Blake
sixth
if
if
Blake
Roman-
wasn't benched, I'd throw his name in there. But
Rest in peace, Bobby. Rest in peace. I know he was your boy.
Right?
Long live Bortles.
Oh man, Bobby Koch is probably out there crying right now.
Yeah, the patron saint of Duval is who that is. Any other guesses?
Luck.
Luck
Luck
would be number 5 if we
All
get
right.
Fitzpatrick up out of there. So
Okay.
right now it's number 3 and number 4.
I am
Guys got
surprised. I'm a big Luck fan, and I didn't guess that.
And you didn't know. That's what happens
Roethlisberger?
when you retire. When you retire, you fall off. Yes, Ben Roethlisberger, number 3. So he was at 21.3 points per game. You're only missing the number 4 quarterback. So again, we've got Mahomes at number 1, Matt Ryan at number 2, Ben Roethlisberger at number 3, and then you had Andrew Luck at number 5, who was number 4 in fantasy points per game last year at quarterback.
Wasn't Russ, was it? He's got to
Not
be
Russ.
down.
Russ was
About,
number 11 in this exercise.
Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, Deshaun was on my list.
Ding, ding, ding,
maybe,
ding, 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 ding.
but- Yeah.
That's who I want to talk about. I'm so glad we actually got to him.
I want to talk about the 4th overall QB in points per game from the 2018 season. Let's play a game.
This is yeah.
Well, even
It's
the
my
last
roundabout way. Yeah, exactly. My roundabout way of talking about Deshaun Watson. So for whatever reason, I have no idea. For whatever reason, when we're looking at ADP, I wanted to see May ADP for quarterbacks. Deshaun Watson currently going as quarterback number 4. Now, let me ask you this. People, I feel like on several podcasts and things that I've read this week, we've had folks in the camp. Obviously, DeAndre Hopkins is amazing. We've had folks in the camp of Kiki QT, who people are big fans of. We've had folks in the camp of Will Fuller as well. The running game is still not great. The offensive line looks to still be not fantastic, as many people thought that they reached at that tackle who they took in the first round. And I think they took another offensive lineman sometime in the draft. They've still got Lamar Miller, still Donta Foreman, and the tight ends are still all over the place. Can we talk about Houston for a minute in terms of reasonable expectations for not only Watson, but that offense as to who you guys think can be or who we should be pushing our chips in on as the second option behind Hopkins?
I mean, it has to be QT, right? I mean, Fuller wound up tearing his ACL. What was that, like week 9, week 10?
Was it an ACL again?
I forget. Like
falling down from a deep ball, from an overthrow.
It might be an ACL. You're right.
So, I mean, late season ACL tear. I mean, regardless of how long you think it's going to take for him to recover, I mean, the chances of him being able to suit up and play like a full 16 are fairly small. So I would assume at the very least we're probably going to be opening up the season with those two, Kuti and Hopkins, as your main options in the passing game. And I mean, okay. I mean, I don't see much of an issue with that. I mean, to be quite honest with you, and I still think, I mean, Hopkins is still, I mean, for most folks, at least for me personally, he's my wide receiver 1. I mean, Kuti, I still think that at least the fact that he was injured throughout most of the season last year, but I think he changed up his conditioning over this past season or something like that. But I still think that, I mean, with Watson under center, I mean, yeah, I'm all about investing into Kuti as the wide receiver 2 to kind of I don't know, to try and invest in for this year.
Quick heads up, Kiki QT currently going as wide receiver number 52, and Will Fuller going at wide receiver 33.
I was expecting it to be a lot closer. Wasn't a big fan of Will Fuller coming into the league, but then he showed up really well. But a second major injury just gets me all the bad vibes about him. But so I've been on the Kuti train, and I've been talking about whoever's cheaper. And right now that ADP is like a big margin. It's just a big margin. I'm going all Kiki.
Yeah.
Gabe,
I
as our native, not native, but as our resident Texan.
I've been hearing a lot of talk.
Take us inside minicamp.
So I was just talking to Deshaun. I think to me it's like one of those situations where Fuller and Kiki are going to kind of merge to become this, like, he'll have a week, he'll have a week, he'll have a week, and then he'll have a week type of thing, and they'll end up both basically just being like a wide receiver 35 or something each of them, because Hopkins is the dude, right? I mean, he's
No question.
gonna get massive targets. I mean, I remember a few years ago when Julio was really kind of it seemed like he was possibly peaking, I guess, in quotes, peaking, or just coming into a season to where he might have the most targets of his career. That's kind of how I feel with Hopkins this year, is that he could really just do some nasty things. And also, I think, the mention of the offensive line, J. Mike, that I think we're looking at Deshaun Watson being more of a Russell Wilson these days, when Russell Wilson had his poor offensive line. He was just running everywhere, and that might be what Watson has to do. And so I don't yes, he still puts up big numbers in the passing game, but not as much as, your other guys that are doing similar things in the passing game that we're looking for. Like, my point is like, do we really need to look at that number 2 option? I know that Watson is a great quarterback, but are we looking, because in Seattle, like, the number 2 was Lockett the whole time, and he never really came to fruition until Baldwin was injured or now gone, and now we're all over that. But now we have Metcalf, but can they coexist, or is it just going to be like one kind of guy that sticks out? That's more of how I feel about the Texans play. So I'm just kind of not interested, but if there is a value, I guess it's Kiki, even though I don't love her or him.
He's another one of those guys. I feel like he's going to end up having value spikes come June for the June ADP. Like
right.
A lot of people like him, Curtis Samuel.
That'll get closer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Both of those guys, I feel like will get nice little boosts. And Larry Monkey in the chat. Larry, I apologize for being so disrespectful to the great Demarie Crockett and not mentioning him as a player in the backfield. So excuse me, Larry. I did not mean to disrespect.
And
Mr.
Cahill.
Larry Ole Miss fan, maybe.
Right.
Yeah. That's fair. I like Watson a lot. And I wish they wouldn't have such a garbage offensive line. And I feel like that's probably what most NFL teams say. Hey, I wish our offensive line didn't suck, but here we are. Let me ask you guys this: would you rather have Deshaun Watson or Andrew Luck?
Andrew Luck.
Andrew Luck, but that's because I was a fan way before.
I think Luck is pretty fair to say.
Yeah, I think it's less about the differences in talent between the two. It's just more that the Colts have now shown themselves, at least from a front office and personnel standpoint, to be on the level of the Eagles, the Patriots, in terms of how they make moves, how they value talent, and how they want to build around Andrew Luck. And I see them looking more to maximize his ability to be on the field and also for them to score points more so than the Texans, because that Texans pick for that tackle, but that was a panic pick. I mean, I don't think they really knew or they really had an idea of what they were supposed to do in terms of a backup plan. So I think that the management in their front office is way worse than Luck's, because they've been staring down the barrel of having a poor offensive line for probably about 2 seasons now at least. And also with the contracts that they have on their defensive side, because they're going to have to wind up paying, they're going to have to pay Clowney, I believe, a fairly decent contract, or make a decision on what they're going to do with him soon enough. And also, I think Merciless, also, I think his contract might be coming up. So, like, their cap management and just from a front office perspective, I think Luck is just in a better spot. I think it has less to do with their abilities as quarterbacks, just more of the organizations they're attached to.
Speaking of Luck, he has an offensive line that was amazing last year. Might see a little bit of a regression, but it's unheard of that he wasn't sacked for how long? I can't even remember, but it was outstanding. And when you see a Luck with a great pocket, you see an amazing quarterback, and now he's another year removed from the injury. So it's a lot to be excited about. And I like the weapons around Luck. You got T.Y. Hilton, a big-time favorite, hometown favorite here in Miami. You have they drafted Paris Campbell. Still have the three. I think I can count up to Mo Ali Cox. I will count as one of the tight ends as a weapon. He will be used. I think there's a lot of good buzz coming in. But Ebron, Jack Doyle, who I really like better than Ebron, honestly, according to ADP anyway. It's just a lot of weapons and protection around him, and a good defense. This team is all around on the upswing.
Everybody in their Mac yes. I see you, Aaron, in the chat. Aaron B, big homie up north. Mac, yeah, it's just killing me. Uh-oh. Did you guys feel the thermostat turn up a little bit?
I think it's a little fuego in here.
Little fire.
Little Fuoco.
Little Scanduro.
That's in my past.
A little Italian pistol.
I know he's trying to get rid of his brand. Come on.
What you mean, man?
Imagine me changing FF man bun.
I don't have mixtapes that are dropping, so you can't change yours.
No, you don't have mixtapes. You got fire takes though.
Let's go.
Ooh.
Yeah, well, I do.
Fuego.
I do. I'm not getting rid of them, man. What's going on, man? How are y'all doing today?
All right, man.
Pretty fantastic.
Chris, we making this trade for Devontae Adams and DD2 or what?
We need to have a talk. We need to discuss these things, man.
Y'all might as well talk about it right here. We'll act like we're not here. Oh snap! We got.
So wait, hold on.
Oh wow!
Wait, hold on, Frank.
Hold on, Frank. Here.
We got two for one special right here. Big B.
Just crashed the party.
What's up, dude?
Hey, Frank.
What's up, boys? What's up, Josh?
What's going on?
Don't know about his actual real life name. Fusion Fantasy Football, Fusion FM on Twitter. How you feeling, Big?
I'm doing great. Thanks for the invite. We got it figured out. Little technical difficulties.
Google sometimes
You're jumping over my spotlight, man.
I know. I didn't know. I clicked join, and all of a sudden you were there.
So yeah, you, Mr. Allen, Mr. Fuego, we'll just stand by idly. You guys work out whatever you need to with your trade. And so Chris, if you would, Chris number 2 in this instance, Chris, if you would just talk so much mess if you need to, if you feel like something sounds like crap between their deliberations here, make it happen. You are the arbiter. You are the fan of
this.
Yeah, make it happen.
Got you.
So look, I'm kind of against doing this because you and your co-host, Mr. Manbun over there, literally denied me 6 times. So I don't think you should have the pleasure of hearing trade talks that go on between the Degenerates leagues.
Woo! Woo!
Wow.
I even offer for y'all to co-host the team. Nope.
Bro, listen. As we said in the DMs, so now everything's spilling out in the streets, all on Front Street.
Here it is.
Collectively, individually, as much as we enjoy fantasy football, we are not picking up another league at this time. Now, No. The beauty of this is, Frank, I co-host the show, so I'm going to talk, and then you're going to have to talk. Yes, that's my flex here. That is my flex.
Touche.
The so as appreciative and as thankful and as much as I legitimately wanted to be in the league, because it sounds like what you're doing with those degenerates leagues are way too much fun. For the sanity of my family, for me, if I want to stay married, see my kids, make sure that I'm a functioning member of society, taking care of jury duty, things of that nature, I can't take another league on. I cannot physically do it right now.
No.
This is my thing. I know because every single podcast I listen to has got some new fire rap coming out of Man Bun over there. So he can't tell me it's not the funds that's his problem. Okay. He could have paid for your half for DD4. It was the podcast league. Y'all supposed to be the top notch podcast on Tuesday nights around here.
Oh, you think I'm getting paid for this?
Yeah. You better be.
What does Mike Evans have to do? Come on.
He had to settle for me.
No, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. I am doing some good things in the Degenerates leagues. Got them, 6 of them started. I'm done after this one. I'm finished. I'm not doing it. I'm not starting up a 7th one. It's too much.
Famous last word.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm telling you, it's not happening. Although
when it came to trade addicts, and I think that he's probably starting up 8 and 9 like very soon.
DD6's startups happening, and after all the trades that I pulled off, I got McCaffrey, David Johnson, Odell, and Mike Thomas as my top 4 players. Now I don't have another pick till like round 6, but I don't really need another one.
Right?
That's the nasty summer.
Oh my goodness.
So wait, did everybody in here get in the Scott Fishbowl?
I'm in.
Not yet.
Not yet is the operative word, Big B. Yet.
Yes.
We'll see.
It's coming. Did anybody see Stompy's video? Because I had to go puke before I came on after watching it.
He made a video.
I don't think that's legal. What he
Wait,
put up.
Chris,
You
you
haven't
haven't
seen
seen the video?
Don't open it.
Video.
Don't do it, Chris.
Should I watch this or not? Y'all
Take
tell
your
me.
phone,
telling
go
you.
outside,
Oh,
take it out.
Actually, hold on. This could be perfect. Let him get their live reaction of Chris while he watches the video for the first time here live on the open bar.
Where is this thing?
Some good podcasting right there.
I'm just saying it was a tad cold at the Stompy house
Oh
tonight.
my God.
That's all I know.
Yeah, make sure you have it on a big screen, Chris.
Is it on his Twitter timeline?
Yes,
It is, yes.
All right.
You'll know full well, full well when you see it what's going to happen.
Look, my only thing about this, and I think J Mike, you can appreciate this. The only thing about that is that was the worst heel promo I've ever heard of all time.
he could definitely use some work with The Rock.
He should have hit Gabe up and said, "Look, bro, I need you to give me like 2 or 3 bars that I can spit on this video that I'm about to stunt on everybody else."
What is this?
For those listening in podcast form, this is why you've got to get in on the live show Tuesday nights, 9:30 p.m. Eastern ish, never late, always on time ish, and you get to see these reactions like Chris Allen.
Samuel, what is this that I'm seeing right now?
He called him by his government name. He said Samuel.
This man is in a red singlet. What is this?
No amount of alcohol is getting me through this.
Yeah,
He made this video.
yeah.
Put it out there.
enough.
The worst part is he held the championship belt upside down.
In the chat, super duper flex. Mr. McCarthy hit us with. He says like a train wreck.
Where is?
You're watching
Hold
and
on.
you can't stop watching.
Did you hear what Kevin Tompkins from Twitter said? He said, "Is that the camel toe or all 8 of them?"
Oh my God. Where is somebody get Addison on this? We need to get him fired. This is not going to absolutely.
Oh man,
You can't
I'm
be
glad.
doing this.
I'm glad I brought that to your attention, Chris. Anyway, Devontae Adams, Chris.
Oh my goodness. I can't even think right now.
Well, good. It's
That's
perfect
his
time.
ploy. That's his ploy. Stop thinking.
I can't even think what. I'm honestly, I'm at a loss. I am at a loss as to what possessed this man to put. I mean, hats off to him. I mean, good content. I mean, the thing got 16,000 views. I mean, content is content, y'all. But still, this is next level. I don't even know what. Wow, man.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'd probably be doing some. I mean, I literally flushed a toilet of Thin Mints in the toilet like 3 months ago. So I can only imagine if I would have won the SF, Scott Fishbowl title, what I would be doing on Twitter. I probably have to on Twitter.
Clearly, it'd be that. I mean, what else is you can't top that? I mean, what else you got to do?
Well, we'll see next all season when I'm holding the championship belt.
Yeah, you take it, and well, see, that's the thing. Now, that's the bar that's been set. So if that is what Sam has done now, in order to, I mean, set the bar for the next SFB champion, then I mean, what are you gonna do? I mean, do like the stuff that what is it like Bills fans do, like before pregame, and like jump in a pool of mayo or something like that? Like, I mean, what could you possibly do to top that? Because I can't even think of something that would be worse than what I'm seeing here.
How about Philip Lindsay, Robert Foster, and N'Keal Harry for Duke Johnson and Devontae Adams?
Ooh. Now, see, that's talking.
Say
That's what I'm here for.
Say it again.
What was it?
Philip Lindsay, Robert Foster, and N'Keal Harry for Duke Johnson and Devontae Adams.
Who has who here?
I've got Adams and Duke Johnson.
Interesting. And by interesting, I mean
I already know my answer.
That's Fuego.
Let's hear it, John. Go for it.
That's a no.
yeah, no
I'm
shit.
sorry.
He was just like,
Okay. Granted, I'm not that high on N'Keal. I think he's great. He's not elite, which Adams right now is on the elite tier.
Hey, Chris, mute the mic till after he accepts it. The hell is
I was
this?
invited to speak by the host, so I'm just gonna.
he's the arbitrator.
He's an OG host.
Now I got to go back to the drawing board and shit. I just want Devontae Adams. Is that too much to ask?
Offer something.
And you asked
bigger.
for Duke Johnson on top of it.
Yeah, that's true.
That is the deal breaker right there, Duke Johnson.
I don't think I'd do it even just I wouldn't do it for those three. What? Give me 3 N'Keal Harrys, then I'd say maybe. All right, sorry, I'll step out of y'all's league.
Well, I mean, that's where, I mean, now you got, see, Frank, I mean, that's what you got to do. I mean, so.
I'm looking. I currently have Latavius Murray, N'Keal Harry, and Anthony Miller selected for just Devontae, but I haven't hit send yet.
Hey, Frank, I'm going to tell you something, though, something I know about Chris from being able to meet him earlier last year. A good friend of ours, good friend of the show, good buddy of mine, Chris Svoboda. He's in the league with Mr. Allen, and it took them all night in negotiations, and a trade never happened because Mr. Allen
we couldn't come to an agreement.
He is going to take his time. You will not rush him. You will not push him forward. He's going to analyze it. He's going to pick it apart. And even if he says that he likes it right now, he's going to go to sleep. You're going to get a big middle finger. And it's
so two things about this. One, in Dynasty Degenerates 1, his co-host Adam has Duke Johnson, and I traded him Mecole Hardman and I think like a 2023 for Duke, because I read some stupid stat about Duke Johnson. I was like, screw it, I'm going to trade for him. Like, why not?
That's fair value. We're good. I can talk about, that's close.
Right. So
basically got him for free once you give away Mecole Hardman.
So I told Adam, I said, I'm going to go after Chris because he's got him in DD2. And he goes, good luck, ... That's all he said. Oh man, he said good luck because he doesn't like trading.
I do. I like trading as much as the next person, but y'all not about to roast me on Twitter because of some trade unless I figure out all the angles to this. 'Cause I know the second I clicked accept, they'll be like, "Oh, look at this trade I just did with Chris Allen. Check it out. Check it out." And you're gonna tag me and everything, and have my mentions in flames. We're not gonna have that.
That needs to be as part of the deal. You're not allowed to tweet out the trade.
There it is. Yeah, you could probably give me the
Put that
worst
clause
offer.
I got to, man. I mean,
Don't tell anybody.
people are gonna expect me to tweet it out because I'm the commission. They want votes on it. Like I got to do my duty, man.
I'll give you Duke Johnson for like a 2025 third or something like that. Just don't put it out on Twitter.
2025 third. I did a trade with Devontae Adams before the NFL draft, and it didn't exactly turn out as great as I thought because I thought the Colts might draft a running back, but it was essentially like Kenny Golladay, Dante Pettis, Marlon Mack, and like a late second for Devontae Adams and a first this year, which I eventually turned into a early 2021. What do y'all think of that? So basically, Devontae Adams 2021 for Golladay, Pettis, Mack, and a second.
I'm not a big Pettis guy, but I don't hate it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I got Adams. I
you got Adams.
Yeah.
So
I had way
I
too
do
many
that
guys
too.
on my roster. I basically needed to make a trade to get a stud, or else I'd be dropping guys like that. So
yeah. Okay.
Dude, look,
Yeah.
I love it. I love that for you, but at the same time, like now that you've seen the landing spots, like it probably looks a lot worse today. Like if you would have
It
told me
does.
this before draft, I would have been like, dude, you stole him.
yeah, exactly.
said-
No,
you
I
said
think
Pettis?
Mac really rises now without anything happening. You know, I think
Right.
he's really gonna surge, and I think Pettis may have taken a hit. You know, with Debo landing there, and I guess Hurd with draft capital, but yeah, I don't know. And Golladay didn't take a hit at all, so
Yeah.
I mean, I guess with Hawk, but hardly.
Nah.
Oh,
That's it.
Gabe, I traded your boy.
If you believe in first round or first year tight ends.
Yeah, my boy.
I traded your boy, Gabe, Damian Williams. I traded him 2 2021 and a 2022 for Melvin Gordon.
That's cool. I like that.
Big B, what is that face for? You were thinking and you were.
I'm actually slowly moving off Gordon. I think he's going to be the next one to be the Gurley in the situation Gurley is in right now. It's year after year he's missing weeks here and there. He's great when he plays, but I just feel like he's going to hit that cliff any season now.
Who?
I don't hate the take.
Who sent
I
you the
think
invite?
It's coming.
I've been on Melvin Gordon. I was an early adopter, but I'm not going to be scared to get off of him early either.
That's the thing. That's the thing with timing. You know, like what is the time to get rid of these kind of guys? I mean, 20. What is he? 26 going into this season. So
he has a good season.
He's fine. He's fine. You know, and he should be fine for a couple of years. You'd think, but I can see why you'd want to kind of restart. Like if you can get in a situation of getting a younger cat that's with some juice on top. But
I'm wondering what his next contract is going to look like. I'm assuming that's going to get done.
Yeah. Okay, Mike, we were talking about that. We thought that he was going to get restructured, right?
Well, he's holding out right now, ain't he?
Is he?
I didn't see any news about
I
it.
did not see that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought I heard it on NFL Sirius XM NFL radio that him and who's the defensive end, Ingram?
Oh yeah, Melvin Ingram.
Melvin Ingram. I heard they were both holding out because they
Really?
wanted a new
That's
contract or something.
That would be shocking. I would find that so shocking. just because he hasn't. Well, and obviously we don't know these people, right? But he hasn't seemed like the type to want to hold out. But that brings up such a bigger point of contention to be able to talk through these awesome running backs that we see moving forward, specifically with Todd Gurley being the best and brightest and getting the extension, and then everything falling apart thereafter, do we need to start getting out of these guys once they hit year 4 or 5 for those, well, those are guys who were first rounders, right? With the what's it called, the extension year or the
option year.
Option year.
New option or new contract top. Yeah.
5-year option.
So do we need to basically be in for 2 years on these rookies that we take and then ship them out ASAP? Because I don't know that we're going to keep seeing these running backs getting offers like Gurley just got, and Melvin Gordon, like you said, next in line. Been incredibly productive. Carry fantasy teams, been great for the Chargers, even though he continues to get hurt.
Are his knees or his legs any better than Gurley's at this point? I mean, he's got like 1 full season. He came into the league hurt.
Who we talking about? Daryl Henderson's handcuff? Is that who we're talking about?
Darrell Henderson is a handcuff.
It felt like Daryl, but it's pronounced Darrell.
I'm interested to see what the details of that contract is. I mean, what can we really expect? I mean, I guess after Bell got his money and Gurley got his extension, but what happened with his knee? I just don't know. It's gonna be, I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna be really interested to see what the details of that contract are gonna be, because with his health history, I don't know.
I'm sure they're prepared. I mean, if they haven't done it already, I'm sure they're prepared to not do I don't know what their cap situation is, but if it happens to be after next year, and they don't restructure now, I don't know. I don't see why they'd want to even do that at 27 years old to do a deal then would be very, very interesting. From what you said though, J Mike, I don't hate that at all. Like, we're always playing, and I think Dynasty in itself is moving kind of more and more towards redraft, like people trying to win now, and they trade for what's good now and blah, blah, blah. But I think that it's a decent, like, where can Melvin Gordon go from here? Like, he's already kind of reached possibly his peak. Like, yeah, I guess he could get into the first round if he has another good season and be locked into like a top 3 or 4 running back. Like, okay, cool. But then you'd probably want to sell at that point. I mean, I think there is an opportunity to sell now if you're into a guy like Carry-On or Jacobs or Geis or somewhere around that range, and then get some juice. Like, I don't hate that at all, because they could easily land at the same finish by the end of the season, especially considering, what y'all said before about games that he might miss.
Mm-hmm. And then factoring in whatever they're going to do with Rivers, according to Spotrac, he's a free agent after this year. So what are they going to do with him?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a very small window for the Chargers right now.
Don't they have Cardell Jones, and then they draft what's this face from Penn State this year?
Have
That Easton Stick.
Oh,
they
they
have
got
Easton Stick, and I think that Geno Smith.
Yeah, Geno's there.
So they're set.
And Tyrod.
Well,
one of them. I would assume Tyrod or Geno are probably going to be one of the ones that get cut.
Probably.
You're correct, Gabe. You're correct. They are set at quarterback. They're set to take one in 2020.
There you go.
Yep.
So they're in the Dallas Cowboys situation where they're caught between a quarterback and a running back, and who gets contract first. So they're probably not going to give Melvin one until they figure that out with the quarterback.
Yeah, but at least, oh, I guess you're saying for free agents too. But I mean, at least Dak isn't as old as Rivers is.
Right. Yeah.
I think he's just talking in regards to just
like in the free agents
they find themselves in.
Just the money. Yeah.
And like you just said, they've got to pay Cooper too, right? So they've got to pay Amari. They've got to figure out Dak, and they've got to figure out Zeke. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's really interesting.
So if you're the GM and you can only sign 2 of them, what 2 do you sign?
Are we talking Dallas or?
Yeah, in Dallas. If you're the GM and you can only sign 2 of them, Dak, Zeke, or Cooper, what are the 2 that you'd sign?
Give me Dak and Cooper. Figure
Easily.
something.
Easily.
It's got to be with the way the running backs don't make it unless you name Frank Gore. You know what I mean?
Right.
And the 100% knucklehead that Zeke has shown to be way too often.
Yeah.
Way too often.
Yeah.
Brother, just stay home. Just stay at home. You don't have to go out. Just stay at home.
I heard you. I think I heard you. I heard you on your show, the pod you guys just put out. You said that on the pod. Just stay at home. I cracked up laughing.
Just stay at home. I don't understand.
Bring all the fun to you. You got all the money. Bring the fun to you.
Just have you a house party.
Have people that you know aren't going to be recording that and sending it off like some stranger.
Isn't that what some athletes do anyway? They have house parties and they take people's phones once they come in. I mean, I would have security out front grabbing people's phones and have my lawyer making people sign waivers that you cannot tell anybody what happens once you come through these doors. Like, why do you got to go out and risk it? It's just not worth it. Stay at home.
Big B, are you taking? Are we making this a sweep basically with Dak and Cooper as the guys that you take care of?
If I'm them, I'd want to see about Cooper because I personally still don't trust him. I know he had an apparently good second half this season last year, but he has had apparently good seasons in the past.
I just don't think he has the hands.
I'd want to see consistency first.
Yeah, and I think that's the big thing that they could never. I mean, Oakland could never really get it out of him, despite the flashes that he had. But I mean, do you think it was more Coop or was it just Carr? And I don't know. I mean,
see,
Crabtree was fine.
Let's be honest.
That's fair.
Let's be honest. Was Cooper really the wide receiver one though? There,
no, it was Crabtree.
I think Carr realized that Cooper's hands, he couldn't trust him, and that's why he moved more to Crabtree. Think about all those situations that when the Raiders win, he always seemed to go to Crabtree over Cooper.
Yeah.
You know, if they needed a first down or a touchdown or something.
Yeah.
Or Roberts too. Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't trust Cooper.
Yeah. And I think even like Cooper, he admitted to some degree that a lot of it was just he got into his head a bit too much. And he needed that. I don't know if it was necessarily a confidence thing, but it was just a mental thing more so than anything else. I think the skill's there. I mean, definitely the skill's there, but I don't know. Once he started getting into his head a bit too much.
I mean, you've seen the skill. I mean, what do you have? 200 yards receiving one game a couple years ago.
Yeah. I mean, that was on the Thursday night or something like that. Thursday night against the Chiefs when he just went off.
Yeah, he can take screen passes. Like he reminds me of Demaryius Thomas with the screen passes. Like if you think about like just catching a little bubble screen and then taking it to the house, weaving through traffic, like he's got talent. It's just I don't know if he just doesn't apply himself enough, or maybe he just doesn't care enough in practice. And then by the time game day comes, he's a step behind everybody.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or he's about to slay everything this season. I don't know, one of the two. No, I do find it interesting though. Keep in mind they do with all these contracts coming up. Keep in mind they did just. What was it? Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore now is the offensive coordinator there.
Mm-hmm.
They got rid of Linehan, so that's going to be another interesting wrinkle and variable as to what this team looks like, how they look moving forward, and if that continuity that is no longer there kind of goes out the window, and if that hurts this group. I'm excited. I'm really excited about Amari Cooper this season, and Dak, true low key, sneaky candidate to finish like top. I don't know, just near the top of QBs. I like Dak a lot this year. Stompy put a trade in here. Do you guys want to talk through a trade real quick?
Of course.
Always.
Stompy says this is half point PPR. Everybody get your abacuses out and get this ready. We've got on one side Steph Diggs, Devonta Freeman, and Anthony Miller for Le'Veon Bell, Chris Godwin, and Christian Kirk. Choose your side wisely.
Tell me what you see.
Who was? It was Diggs, Freeman, and who?
Yeah,
Miller?
Diggs, Devonta Freeman, and Anthony Miller for Lev Bell, Chris Godwin, Christian Kirk.
That is such a boring trade.
I
Almost
would,
like
I
a
would lean,
sorry, we
player
couldn't-
trade, like what you were talking about, J. Mike.
Sorry, we couldn't infuse your boys, Cooper
Right.
Kupp and Damon Williams in here.
Yeah,
It really
let's
gets you
make this
excited.
exciting.
I would have to lean. I'll lean the Le'Veon side, I think,
I think I do too.
because I think the gap between Diggs and Miller is smaller than the gap between Freeman and Bell. If that makes any sense.
This is tough. I'm not a fan of either the trends for where both running backs are going. I'm sorry, I'm missing the third piece for the Christian Kirk, Lev Bell, and who?
Chris Godwin.
Godwin.
God, the hype on Godwin. Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, put him in that bucket of guys that we talked about. June ADP going up.
Yeah. That arrow's just pointed straight up, bro.
Right.
Yeah, I probably still lean the Kirk, Lev Bell, Godwin side.
Yeah.
I think
Am I
if
the only one
nothing
then?
else, I think that side that side has the value. I think no matter how you cut it,
Yeah.
I think that side probably has the value. But I want the other side.
See, I always match peaches up. So I
What,
say
'cause of Anthony Miller and Devontae Freeman.
Bro, all my sons are on that side. Diggs, Freeman,
sons.
all my sons. It's a family reunion trade. Come on, bring all my sons home. All my prodigals, come here. Go ahead, Big B. Sorry.
Well, I just match up the pieces. I'd rather have Diggs than Godwin. Anthony Miller, Christian Kirk. I think I'd rather have Kirk. And that just leaves Bell or Freeman. And sure, Bell more than Freeman, but does that make up for the difference between Diggs and Godwin and Kirk and Miller? And I don't think it does, especially when I consider their value. I'm always one, like you were talking about earlier, I'm always one thinking about this year. And unless I'm in a league where I can't do trades or something, then I just care about between now and next rookie draft. And so I don't see, again, the value changing between Freeman and Bell. I'll take the Diggs, Freeman, Anthony Miller side.
J. Mike cannot hear you.
Sorry, I was muted. One thing that I'm curious of, Big B, with what you just said, I feel like people are one season away with Devonta Freeman before they're like, okay, I'm done. Like we're done here. We've reached the end. It was a great run. We appreciate you, but you've been hurt too much. You've disappointed me too much. I think people are around the edge of that. Whereas like Lev Bell can kind of be meh in New York, and I don't think that people will completely quit on him yet. Also, I think that just with what I've heard on podcasts and whatnot, and I'm curious your all's thoughts, but when we're putting Godwin versus Diggs, I think that that's going to be a lot closer maybe to the, I don't know if it's general public or general podcasters, because I feel like right now people love them some Chris Godwin, and I'm not mad at it. I think people are really, really excited for what he can be in the Arians offense with what he did last year. I think people are really thinking that he's going to take a huge step forward. So I'm just kind of throwing out thoughts of what I see and hear when you said that, Big B.
Man,
Is
I
the
just don't
Arians
see it.
offense really going to be that much more productive than it was last year
Even with Monken.
with Monken and how much they were throwing? Everyone anticipates it's going to get even better. How?
I don't know.
When Mike
So-
Evans becomes the wide receiver.
My only
too.
thing is,
Well, remember Dirk Cutter took over play calling at some point too.
Right.
So anyway, go ahead, Frank.
my thing is they threw for, I think it was combined between him and Fitzpatrick, it was like 5,100 yards. Like,
They would have been like
It's not
QB3 or something ridiculous.
right.
It was
But
Mahomes
it's not
and
gonna-
then them.
I don't think it's going to happen. Like, and if they regress, how much better is Godwin going to have? Like, yeah, Humphreys is gone and Djax is gone, but I mean, Winston's still got to be able to get him the ball, and we know he's going to fumble 14 times next year and throw 22 interceptions. Like, we know what Winston is. It's not like it's something new. And then Cousins and Diggs and Thielen are only going to get better, in my opinion, this year. I don't see them like they had an off year, like I think last year.
First year in the
Offensive
offense, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's why I don't
But-
like people are so quick to give Godwin like this huge bump forward. So if Godwin is now going to be this, I'm just throwing a number out there, but this like 1,000+ yard receiver. I mean, what are we expecting? I mean, Mike Evans needs to be going like number 1 in drafts then, if that's the case. Because if Godwin is now going to be this 1,000-yard receiver, how many yards is Mike Evans going to have? 1,800 yards.
The other thing is if people are using this hype for Godwin, why are we not using it for a player that's in a better offense, almost in the same situation, and that's Mike Williams? There's a lot of targets that left San Diego. Mike Williams is going to be the wide receiver 2 to Keenan Allen. Rivers is better than Winston. We know that, and their offense is more high-powered. So why are we giving Godwin all this hype, and we're leaving everybody that I see on Twitter is killing Mike Williams?
Because of Bruce Arians. It's because of the offensive system.
Just remember, Mike
Williams got a lot of
and
touchdowns.
Gabe. Just remember, I said Mike Williams is going to have 14 touchdowns this year. It was a hot take
You did.
back in February.
That you did.
I think it's hotter in the fact that the potential replacement for those red zone targets is now back. And I think that's why, like, yeah, sure, Tyrell Williams left, but like that's kind of it in terms of targets, and Hunter Henry is there, and we've talked about that before. That's almost a lateral move. I think as far as vacated targets, Godwin definitely wins that battle.
I'd like to see how many red zone targets Mike Williams and Tyrell had, and then compare that and see how many long touchdown passes Tyrell had last year that maybe Mike Williams could benefit from this year. Like, I don't really remember watching many Chargers games that I was seeing like Mike Williams. Like, yeah, the Thursday night game that they came back and beat the Chiefs, I think he scored it from the 2-yard line. But I think the red zone attempts, it's not like he had a ton that he's losing to Hunter Henry.
We could probably look up some air yards on Mike Williams real quick.
Hold please.
There's way too many smarter people in here than me, so that's why I brought it. I said it.
Just real quick, just to kind of throw a couple things out there. I think last week we had talked about with Harvin the Martian.
Hey,
and
Hardy har.
with that squad last week, we had talked about Mike Williams versus Chris Godwin because everything was and Walk. Chris Godwin versus Matt Foreman was here with us as well, and one of the things that I think that everyone who is excited for Chris Godwin this year is banking on is the fact that last year he had 95 targets while only starting 5 games per Pro Football Reference. So I think that people will just naturally surmise now, right, wrong, or indifferent. I don't know, but people will surmise. One of the things being that the opportunity is going to grow for him. He's going to be starting, and he's going to be looking at. I think people are probably anticipating 110, 120 targets, and I might be low on what people hope for that. But if he's getting that kind of work, like that's putting you in a position to be someone top. I don't know, a wide receiver 2+ in fantasy, wide receiver 2 with the expectation of, hey, he's creeping up on the fringe of 1.
Like Chris said, if he gets 120 or something, 130 targets, you better go buy Mike Evans now while you still can.
Exactly.
Because Mike Evans is going to have 180 targets if Godwin's getting 130. Like that's just crazy that he's going to bump up all that much,
So let's see. Mike Williams had from inside the 20, Mike Williams had 66 targets. Tyrell Williams had 65 targets. So now if we zoom in even farther than that, so from inside the 10, Mike Williams had 54 targets. Tyrell Williams actually had 60 targets from within the 10 and scored about 5 touchdowns from within the 10. That's actually a decent amount of red zone work that's gone away.
Yeah, and is Hunter Henry going to take all 60 of those targets? You know what I mean? Like how many did Gates have last year?
Gates had 2 touchdowns from within the 20.
Now, Aton's in the chat. Just want to throw it out there, and you can go ahead, Mr. Chung, after I say this. He's saying Rivers threw the most TDs of his career last season on fewest pass attempts of his career, which basically meant that he just had his most efficient season of his career. along with that Mike Williams double-digit touchdown massacre from last year. So his point is he feels like there's a very small chance that Mike Williams will repeat specifically the touchdown performance, but I think in general, just the overall fantasy goodness that we saw from him last season. Aton, if I'm misrepresenting you, let me know. But that's what it seems like I'm gathering from what you're saying.
When I think of his season last year, I think of Sammy Watkins 2017 with the Rams. It just seems very comparable to me with the high touchdown rate, but not a lot of actual receptions and yards.
I think that hopefully. Pretty sure I got a spreadsheet on that too. Hold on.
I think he actually put on the hold that time. Like it sounded like his voice cut out.
This is riveting.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Edge of my seat.
I was gonna ask about that. We can jump back to the Mike Williams thing in a second, but that trade with for Stompy, do y'all like that? Do you think you were? If I said like you're accepting this trade in 2 years for the 2020 season, would that affect your decision or what? Do you feel it? Because I mean, I'm curious about, because I feel like, the arguments with Godwin that we're not really sure if it's going to happen this year. I still feel like it will happen, and I think that everyone does think that for the most part. And as far as Kirk goes, I don't know. Bell certainly has possibly a timestamp on when he will not be as successful, but so does Devontae Freeman. Diggs, I think, can certainly propel himself into a Devontae Adams category, and at the end of this year, if all things go well. And I already forgot. Oh, your boy Anthony Miller. He'll just be a wide receiver too. That's fine. On his team, not in fantasy.
I'm about to say, I love Anthony, but dang, that's
no.
Anywho.
But I'm saying, would y'all like that in year 2? Which side would you like in year 2? Because I mean, this is Dynasty Fantasy Football,
right?
I would rather the Godwin side still, Godwin Kirk side, because I think Kirk's going to emerge to be the Fitz replacement, even though I love Isabel and everybody else that they got. And I think he's going to become Kyler's probably favorite target in the next coming years. And then I think Diggs is just getting a little bit older. I think the Bell Devontae thing doesn't even happen at this point in time in next year. Devontae may not even be in the league, or maybe a backup, may get hurt again. Who knows?
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm all about Christian Kirk. Actually, I had my eyes opened to Christian Kirk and his ability as a receiver. Actually, talking to Mr. Reeves on the show about 3-4 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that his role in Arizona is only going to be pointed up. I think it's only going to expand as Fitzgerald kind of makes his way to Canton. So I'm more on the Kirk side than anything else.
I'd change over just because of the Freeman, like J Mike was saying, with the Freeman side losing value faster than Bell. Mm-hmm. But who knows where Bell's at next year? But short of Diggs finally just blowing up and becoming that wide receiver 1 after next year, it's definitely would have to be the Godwin, Kirk, and Bell side just because of Freeman.
Yeah.
So I guess it might depend, where. I'm sorry, J Mike. It might depend on where your team is sitting. If you're ready to, hopefully you're always ready to compete, I guess. But that's just not realistic. And I wish that more dynasty owners had that mindset of like, okay, I'm legitimately not going to be able to compete this year. Let me look at 2020. Yeah, I like that Bell side now. And Bell might have a good year this year, but maybe there's a championship team right there that just lost their star running back or one of their running backs at like their, Chubb or the Derrick Henry or something, and you can flip Bell to him and get some capital from that. If you are considering getting rid of him so that you aren't making that using him in your push for 2020. I don't know. Yeah, just depends. But you should at least scale that out in terms of your future as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And just to wrap up that Mike Williams discussion, about roughly 30% of his fantasy points last season were buoyed by touchdowns. Tyrell Williams, about 22%. I had him at about 22.5% of his fantasy production was just off of touchdowns. Mike Williams was significantly higher. So he's going to need a lot of targets in order to balance out what we assume won't be the same. He won't score at the same TD rate.
Mm-mm. That's what's concerning to me.
One of the things that I find interesting, and we're just talking about with Arizona, what we hope what we anticipate their volume to be next year. Obviously, if Christian Kirk is the main beneficiary of said volume, then it could things get really nutty out in Arizona if things go well. Let me ask you guys this: right now, Chris Godwin is wide receiver 23 in May ADP on DLF.
Boy, howdy.
We've got Mike Williams at 28, and we've got Christian Kirk at 36. So 23, Godwin, 28, Mike Williams, 36, Christian Kirk. This time next year, who do you anticipate has the higher ADP this time next year between those three guys?
Christian Kirk?
Yeah, it's probably going to be Kirk. I mean, if anything, let's say even still, if Godwin even has 3/4 of the season that we expect him to have, I would assume he probably just maintains his ADP. Because what wide receivers is he going to have to displace in order to shoot up? So I think the one with the greatest potential of at least moving forward in ADP, it has to be Kirk with that offense. You have to assume Fitzgerald's going to be gone after this year, so the potential for more targets thrown his way is just only going to be greater.
We just got so many different answers in the chat. That was awesome. A couple people for Mike Will, a couple people for Christian Kirk, a couple people for Godwin. But
you can't listen to Jesse. He's a Chargers fan, so you can't listen to Jesse.
He needs to recuse himself.
Yeah, biased.
What do you guys think? Higher ADP next year? Did everybody answer or no?
I think Godwin maintains. He's just continually going to have that optimism around him. And then I could see Kirk jumping over Williams, but a lot depends on how that offense looks and whether Kirk really is the main target.
Yeah, you'd think that Kirk is the wide receiver 1 on his team, right? Whether it's still Fitzgerald, I don't think so. Really, they drafted a lot of wide receivers, but respectfully, Mike Williams and Chris Godwin are the wide receiver 2s on their team, and you'd think that Kirk would be in line for the most targets. So it's entirely possible for him to, supersede those other 2 guys. But I think considering his position, he might have more work to do, I guess. But it seems realistic.
My thing is next year, as of right now, barring any injury, I know for certain Kyle Murray is the quarterback. Rivers could retire, and they could move on from Winston. You know what I mean? Like,
man, he's still got to put all 9 of them kids through college, man. He's going to be playing until he's 50.
Never know. You never know. I'm just saying, for sure, we're 100% positive. Unless there's an injury, I would say Kyle Murray is the quarterback in Arizona next year. Unless they go 1-15 and they're like, screw it, let's pull Josh Rosen 2.0 and draft Tua.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
finally land their Joe.
We know who's going to be we don't know who's going to be in Tampa next year. They're going to stay with Winston. They're going to move on from him. Same thing with the Titans. Are they going to move on from Mariota? There's question marks in Tampa and LA that I'd rather have Kirk at this point in time.
I agree. Yeah. And I think I heard
cheapest option too.
Yeah, and I forget where I forget where I wound up hearing it. I think it might have been on the Setting the Edge podcast, but they brought up a good point when it comes to that Kingsbury, Kyler Murray connection, in that those two are pretty much tied at the hip, because there's no way that they can wind up firing Kingsbury, because if Kyler Murray sucks with Kingsbury, what coach could they possibly bring in that they would even have any hope would make, Kyler Murray actually perform at the level they need their 1.01 pick to be at. So they're pretty much stuck with them two for the long haul. I mean, unless again I'd be surprised if they wound up trading away 2 first-round quarterback picks. I mean, that'd be, man.
Well, even if he's mediocre and they go 8-8 for the next 4 or 5 years, and then they fire Kingsbury at that point, and he goes and moves on, who's to say Murray doesn't follow him? You know what I mean?
Oh, he
may
probably
lose
would.
that way too.
I don't think Murray can go back to college though.
Yeah, though I'd say he could play baseball though. I think he could probably wind up. He could give back his rookie contract and then just go sign with who signed him? Oakland.
A's.
Oakland,
The
yeah.
A's.
He could just go play baseball.
Isn't there something in his contract he can't do that after a certain, or is there a limitation?
I think so. I thought they had changed that like shortly before his class or something.
Russell Wilson, he goes and practices with him and stuff, so I would assume there's got to be something that Kyle Murray put in his contract to leave it open.
No, something that the Cardinals demanded be put in his contract.
That'd be interesting to look into. Yeah.
That he can't play baseball.
Right.
Yeah, but he has to do probably a minimum of 4 years, and then after that, maybe he can go back if he wanted to.
Yeah, I'm just not sure about the year limitation.
Where is our cap
so
experts?
So going back to Mike Williams' argument, to me,
this is it.
To me, his catch percentage was 65% last year, which means Godwin's catch percentage was 55 last season. So to me, he may not repeat the same touchdown rate, but I could see him getting 300 or 400 more yards and maybe losing 3 touchdowns, because he can prove that he can catch the ball when they throw him targets.
Yeah.
I think he had 10 less targets and he had 4 more catches than Godwin did, which isn't much, but if you're going to span it over the whole season,
it's enough.
Right.
Godwin lost a few touchdowns even last year with those drops, though.
Yeah, and I think his role on the Chargers, I think it allows him to play. I think he could. I'd have to check and see what his slot percentage is, but I would assume that he has the versatility that I think that can wind up giving him an expanded role. Versus, I think with Godwin, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just think his potential for targets is greater than Godwin's. I think it will almost always be the case.
The one thing that I always think is beautiful, and I believe someone tweeted it out within the last week or two, is that Twitter's understanding of there being 20.
Off it. Okay.
We lost Gabe.
Yeah, we lost you for a moment.
Oh, we lost me. In any case, on Twitter, I saw a tweet that said along the lines of Twitter or fantasy Twitter in general misunderstanding the belief that there are 24 top wide receivers and that there are more like 50 that can fit inside the top 24. So it's interesting to talk about like Godwin, Mike Williams, Kirk, and like all 3 of those could easily just land outside of the top 24 because there's just so much else going on. But that's why we're having these conversations. But they are the wide receiver, and we can't even say this. We can't, like I said already, you'd think that Kirk is the wide receiver 1, but he might even be just like a tie for the wide receiver 1 across the field. So can we expect those 3 teams to have 2 top 24 wide receivers? I don't know.
I don't know.
maybe like if I was gonna put trust in any one of them, it would be the Chargers, just because Phillip Rivers. And I'm not gonna put my my eggs on or my crabs rather on James.
Jeez.
So
I had to bring it back.
well, it was a better reference than most.
That's fair. That's fair.
Chris, check the inbox, son. I just sent a trade.
Oh, here comes another trade to shut down.
Let's do it. Oh, it's not showing up yet.
It's Latavius Murray, N'Keal Harry, Anthony Miller, and Ricky Seals-Jones for Duke Johnson, Devontae Adams, and Paul Richardson.
Let's have discourse.
Say it
That's
one
not
more
showing
time, Fuoco.
Latavius Murray, N'Keal Harry, Anthony Miller, Ricky Seals-Jones for Duke Johnson, Devontae Adams, and Paul Richardson.
What is your problem, dude?
What?
He added a lot more players. Ricky, Seal, and Jones. That's 3 players, right?
Yes.
Hey,
like-
I only
Explain.
added Ricky Seals-Jones. I only added Ricky Seals-Jones because he asked for Ricky Seals-Jones in a previous trade.
Yeah,
So
this is true. It's true. This is true.
Ricky Seals and Jones.
Seals and Jones. That's like the next law firm. It's like Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis.
You get Ricky Seals and you get Ricky Jones. Really like 2 players.
then you get Seals-Jones.
Oh.
Combinations, they're endless here. All right.
All right. Y'all mull
I just-
that one over.
I just need him to send counter. I just need him to send a counter.
Oh, we can counter.
Not take 6 days to get back to me this time.
That's true. Now I was out for the weekend. I have photo evidence that I was gone. I was running through the woods.
Warrior.
We did see that. Congratulations on making it through
Yes,
muddy
I did.
waters.
Honestly, kudos to you being able to go on vacation without looking at your inboxes or your phone. I just
I
can't do it.
answered work emails, and that was it. Past that, it was I had to stay focused, man. I didn't want to die.
Also, congratulations on Sports Illustrated picking up that article.
Oh, that was pretty dope.
That is awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty dope. I was actually really surprised because 444 they have they're affiliated with SI, and I've done some work. I did a couple of articles for them last season, but I was contracted out to do it. But this one, they approached me and they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna run your article," and I was like, "Oh shit, okay." I'm not gonna argue with you, but okay. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
Didn't have to do an analytical trade back and forth and just
No,
like, yep,
no,
accept.
I'm not gonna argue with you guys.
Didn't sleep on that one.
No, I was like,
I hope you didn't miss any of the subtleties that Frank is throwing at you. He's like buttering you up, telling you to hit
No.
accept
Yeah.
without thinking. Just go for it.
I'll take it, man. You got
Chris.
it.
Chris, shut up.
You gotta, you gotta let these things happen, man. That's the art of the deal. You gotta let them woo you for a second. You gotta feel made important.
I'm just appreciating the subtlety.
I mean,
It's
I-
very,
I-
very
I'm
subtle.
He doesn't want to be, made to feel important. I mean,
And he succeeded.
Chris
I'm not saying anything
appreciates-
else.
Chris
you
appreciates-
too, man.
He appreciates the subtlety so much that he's going to call it out and bring it to the forefront
Right?
so that it's no longer subtle.
Frank on
Appreciate the
blast.
game.
I mean, put Frank on blast here, man. I mean, Frank's just out here trying to get a deal done. Chris just out here throwing shade at every turn.
All right. Wig boy offer. You ready?
Oh,
Hey, listen,
last one.
wait, Frank.
The other ones
Frank, before.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
No, those were feeler offers, is what those were.
Oh, my
So you're that
inbox
kind of
got-
trader.
I was-
You're that
I
kind
was I was dipping my toe in the
geez.
water.
put his toes up on the camera.
Not that is a reason to listen to this in
Oh, yeah.
podcast form.
Yeah, before was to see his reaction. Now you should turn the video off.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Alright.
Turn the video off.
before you
All right.
J-Mike, carry on.
before you say this offer, Frank, ask yourself, will Gabe make fun of me if I say this? Will Gabe
I could
make
literally-
fun of me if
I
say
could
this?
literally go Christian McCaffrey, Patrick Mahomes, and Michael Thomas for Devontae Adams, and Gabe will say some crazy shit.
No, I wouldn't.
So,
Not that.
all right. You ready? Anthony Miller, Robert Foster, Melvin Gordon.
All right,
For
it got better.
For Devontae.
I'm gonna hide my face so I don't read any of the subtleties.
We're all just stepping away. No need to worry about us.
Wait, that was better?
This is the problem. If everybody steps away, including Chris, I don't get a deal done. Like, what's going on here?
Wait, Joshua, you don't think when you throw Melvin Gordon in there that
I can throw Cooper
Did I
Kupp and
miss
Damian
I
Williams
must
in
have
there.
missed a piece.
I can throw Cooper Kupp and Damian Williams in there if I need to.
I must have missed it.
Yeah, I think Chris isn't even here to hear your offer.
He's had enough.
Just push it through the inbox. They'll see it.
All right.
I just want him to. I just need a counter offer. That's all I need. Work from there. I'm feeling where he's at. That's all.
What would you say? Melvin Gordon, Robert Foster, and
Anthony Miller for just Adams. I don't have any rookie picks. I don't ever have any rookie picks, so I can't offer him that.
I think that's the best offer of the three that you've said.
Well, yeah, I know. I wasn't expecting him to accept the other two.
So you expect a dude who just wrote an article for Sports Illustrated to be a fucking fish. Got it.
Offering Ricky Seals and Jones. And Ricky Jones. Jones.
God.
Hey, I'm just saying I was making feelers.
But if he accepted, how happy would you be?
If he accepted?
Yeah,
about as happy.
First two.
About as happy as the dude that sent me the offer. He wanted my he wanted my fourth, my sixth, and my seventh round startups in DD6 for Christian McCaffrey. So he sent it to me, and I looked at it, and I like, you ever get a trade offer and you're like, what? Huh? You close your browser and like reopen it back up and like refresh it to make sure it's like you're reading it right.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
Chris did that the first two times.
Chris, I don't even know if you heard the actual offer that he made to you.
I didn't. Was it good? I'm judging by y'all's reactions. It probably was not good.
It was better.
We think it was the best he's offered up so far. Go ahead, Frank.
Yeah.
It was better. No, it was better.
Okay. All right.
This is not even one that I will make fun of because this is legit.
Oh, okay.
I might even, you know what? Let's see. Can I handle losing? Yeah.
This is gonna be good. I'm excited.
Well, I'm rethinking it now. I'm taking Foster.
Now that we think it's like a decent offer.
Okay, hold on. No. I'm not rescinding it. I'm not rescinding it because I'm afraid. I'm just trying to fix it to make it better. But it originally was Melvin Gordon, Foster, and Anthony Miller. But we're going to change that. We're going to go. We'll go Melvin Gordon.
You gotta sleep on it. That's okay.
We'll go Melvin Gordon. We'll go Sega. And we'll go N'Keal Harry.
Ooh, now we cooking with grease, boy.
Or Devontae Adams.
And Duke Johnson. Don't forget Duke Johnson.
You gotta throw it, Duke.
You gotta get the throw-ins. It's all about the throw-ins, man. It's all about the throw-ins.
I figured if I could get him for a 2025 third or whatever it was, I'll just toss him on in.
Please say the baby. In this case, please say the Duke. You got to say the Duke.
Free Duke. Free Duke.
All right, Chris, you sleep on that one. Let's
put that in my inbox. I'm refreshing my inbox right now.
It's not even in your inbox, dude. I'm just doing it off of looking at the players.
This is straight off the dome here.
Of course.
Freestyle.
But I could see. I started saying something about catch percentage, and J Mike's face just dropped. He was like, "This isn't who I thought I was bringing on as a guest. This is the new me, J Mike. Okay, I know stats. I'm learning. Okay,
He's bringing it in.
I still got some takes every now and then. All right, but I'm trying to build to a better, newer me for 2019.
Completely extinguished the fuego.
You came on to the open bar tonight with 3 educators, 2 adjunct professors, and I would imagine that you're taking the Rosetta Stone of fantasy football with the stats that you're throwing out. So I'm excited for you. That's a win.
Hey, it's better than me saying that Mahomes, Damian Williams, Hill, and Kelsey were going to finish top 5 of their positions, along with Baker and whoever. Like, shit happens. I'm learning. I'm trying to build the brand here.
We're proud of you.
Sure.
We grow.
All right. You sleep on that one, Chris, and Frank.
We're doing a draft today.
You come up with better offers. All right. What do you say, J Mike? Should we shut this down?
Yeah, we gotta go.
We gotta go. We gotta get out of here.
It's past midnight. It's past my bedtime, y'all.
All right. Well, let's give a round of applause from the chat for the people that could come in and help us out tonight, and also the OG guests for tonight. Quick round of applause from the chat. Your turn, chat. Go ahead.
Woohoo!
Okay, chat. Good job. And now we'll give y'all a chance to say some things about yourself. Whatever you want to say. You can even talk about me if you want. Who knows? The first, Chris, and I don't mean that by ranking. I'm looking from left to right on thumbnails. This just so happens to be Chris, and I have been differentiating between Chris and Christopher.
Mhm.
Not so well, but just like in my own head, I have been. So, Chris, you're up first.
Well, of course. I mean, thank y'all for having me on. It's been too long. I mean, to come and sit down and chat with you guys. So I appreciate you guys having me on. But I mean, the banter, the quality of conversation. I mean, it's for every week y'all put out good content. It's automatic. I mean, for lack of a better term. But if you guys, I mean, everybody that's here, I think pretty much they see me on Twitter. They've seen some of my work, so y'all know how to find me. At Chris Allen, FFWX for the weather stuff, and I actually got some articles actually probably coming out on that within the next like 6 weeks or so. I've got some work to do. But 4for4, Fantrax, Sports Illustrated, now SFB9. Hopefully I'll get stuck in one of y'all's divisions. So we'll have to see what the Great Scott Fish has in store for us. But yeah, between all that, riding with Adam Wilde all day, every week, and also with DLF now. So yeah, I mean, y'all know how to find me. I'm always doing something. So thanks again, guys.
Excuse me. Sorry. The man is grinding.
Always.
Always. Can appreciate that. Can appreciate the grind. I'm happy to have you on too. I'm sorry that it's been so long. I feel like, oh no, okay. I was thinking of when I had the opportunity to hang out with y'all on your podcast. I was like, it hasn't been that long, has it? Okay. Well, it'll have to be soon. Hopefully we can get Wildy on as well. Maybe both y'all. It's all
can't hang this thing, man. Yeah, he's in bed by like 10:30.
He'll never come on again then, will he?
He won't make it. He'll pass out.
Well, if we ever do this again, maybe you can come on at the beginning,
There we go.
Say some words and do whatever. All right. But nonetheless, happy to have you, my man, and appreciate you. So on to the next. Christopher.
I get the honors. Well, I'm glad I'm being able to convince you that I am Chris number 2.
Ooh.
It's really fun, man. I really do miss doing this podcast with y'all. It's been a great pleasure to talk and even change my mind on some of the things that we're talking about. And this is the fun of fantasy football. I hope we bring the joy of Dynasty and fantasy football to all your listeners. You can find me at _ Dynasty Mind. While I'm not producing any more content, I am still active on Twitter. You'll get more or less one of those banters about Ricky Seals and Jones. You'll get more of that throughout my Twitter timeline. Chris, before you go, I'm debating between which LCS jersey I need to get, so just DM me which one looks the best.
100 Thieves.
They do have the best, but they sold out so quickly.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, my man. Appreciate you. We need to not make this so distant the next time, because I literally don't know when it was. But it's pathetic. Hands down, pathetic. Oh, come on, Foco. I can see that in a thumbnail, and I'm not appreciating that. All right. Onward from the Chris's. J Mike, do we even? Well, first of all, they were just temporary guests, and I don't want to disrespect Joshua like that, but I almost want to disrespect Frank like that just because of what he just did. I've never been teabagged through a Google Hangout through a webcam, but I feel it. I feel
Virtual teabag.
Yeah.
No, I mean they hung out with us a little bit longer than I think the previous guests, so I think
fair.
that I would imagine that they've earned this moment to be able to shout themselves out, show some love to whatever they so choose. I think.
All right. You talked me into it. Fuoco, you're up, buddy.
Well, appreciate y'all having me on. Glad I could come be on a guest. Teach y'all the show me everybody that knew me. I just want to give a shout out to J Mike and Gabe. Y'all the realest dudes I know on Twitter. Y'all keep it real 100. Awesome show every week as always. You can see, if you don't see it when y'all miss a week like y'all did a couple weeks ago, how much people look forward to it every week. What y'all doing is leaps and bounds better than anything else in the industry currently, I think. Having this weekly show, bringing on different guests, and always chit-chatting about who knows what every week. And then Friday, just me and Jim Day and Andy Singleton's podcast breaks with FF Champs After Dark. It's going to be live on YouTube Friday night. So that's pretty much the biggest thing going on right now, besides the Generates leagues that I'm running. And everybody should know where to find me. DHH_Frank.
They might not nowadays, considering
Yeah, I know.
the
You switched
brand.
it up.
That's true, but
You need to start flexing that, man. People know you, but do they really know you?
It's the new you.
Thank you,
No,
Frank.
appreciate
Thank
you
you.
coming through from the chat. It's it was a stretch tonight, I think, in J Mike's mind, but it ended up being very simple. So we appreciate you coming on. And I know the grind of making those leagues, and especially just in conversation, with people who have made. The moment that you make a league like that, you can say like a number after the league is like so intense. So can appreciate that. And I know we're not in the league. We're sorry. Look, I was never even supposed to be in another league this offseason, and I somehow accepted something from Russ and did trade at X7. But if we can, talk about some things from that league occasionally, maybe get some links, mine some data, that'd be great, man. Just be great, man. So
well, hopefully next off season, maybe we'll get DD7 started up, and I can get you and J Mike in it.
DD7, more like DD17, bro. Come on, you can be hungry for that.
I'm
shit.
telling you, I'm not doing another one this off season. I can't handle it. It's too much trying to track people with 3 startups currently. Oh, one just finished, but we're still gonna have 2 going at the same time. It's killing me. Both for 24 copy leagues too, or 2014 2 copy leagues.
Yuck. All right. So Joshua, you've never. I'm partial asshole right here, but you've not been on the open bar, correct?
I have not.
Okay, I was gonna say like that can't happen. There's no way that I have not remembered you, because you've been great tonight. I've really enjoyed your insight and what you've had to say. So happy to have you on. Would you like to share anything about yourself?
Thank you very much. Thanks to the Chris's for letting me step on some toes, come in here, steal your spotlight. Love open bar. I should keep reminding myself not to plan on doing anything Tuesday night because I usually just end up here instead. That's why you see me pop in under the name Fusion Fantasy Football, because that's my site, and that means I probably was logged into that trying to do something productive. So you can find me on Twitter at FusionFFB, all my work there. Personally, you can find me at generally_aware. And I just try and I listen to so many different podcasts, yours, multiple ones, Blitz. Yeah, so many. And I just try to, it's just where I get to put together all my thoughts and everything I'm trying to pull together and make sense of it. So appreciate it. J Mike, I don't know how you do it, sending out invites and stuff to all of us while you're still hosting. So I'm in awe of that. I couldn't do that. So appreciate it. And I'll step out.
I don't apologize for stepping on nobody's toes. I ain't apologizing to any of y'all.
That's the Frank brand.
Have you seen his toes?
He showed it off.
I have.
Yeah, we've seen his toes. We really have.
Better than Stompy in a singlet. That's all I gotta say.
That's fair. All right, you
Not
got
the worst thing I've seen tonight.
you got that in the bag.
Jay, Mike, just think about all that Miracle Whip Stompy was eating while he was in the singlet.
You just ruined that man's night. Look at him.
Stop, man. Stop, man. You're ruining the Miracle Whip for me right now.
Yeah, that's nasty. Yes, I am wheezy,
nasty.
but I ain't as mad.
Play too
All
much.
right. That's it, right? We have no more guests, J Mike. Shout out to
No, we're done here.
shout out to Brandon Rojas and who was our
Tyler
first
Gunther.
one? Tyler Gunther. We've been
Gun-
through so many tonight. This has been fun. I enjoyed that a lot. Good idea, J Mike. I am not upset. I am happy. It was great. We might have to do that again sometime. So on to you, my friend.
He's not upset. Hey, not upset.
500,000 on my neck.
Hey, chat. Thank you guys. This, as Gabe used to often put, this could not have been done without you. We had a
Literally
great time.
the case.
Yeah, legitimately. Thank you guys, Chris, and everyone else who's joined us. Thank you guys. We are greatly appreciative. I'll keep this brief as we've ventured into the wee hours of June the 5th, Wednesday. The open bar is closing down for the evening. On Twitter, you can find me at JMikeCheck, at JMICCheck. You can find my better half, Mr. Gearing, on Twitter at FFManbun. You can find the show's handle on Twitter at The Open Bar FP. And everyone else is shouted out their handles, and greatly appreciate our guests for joining us this evening, as well as showing love and for their kind words as well. Truly, I'm often in awe, and I kind of get caught up in my emotions sometimes when people say that they enjoy our show, enjoy what we do, because we like to have a lot of fun, and it's not some I don't know. We just like to do us, and I think that it works for a lot of folks as a change of pace to most of the fantasy things that people do. So, thank everyone for rocking with us. If it's in podcast form, live on Tuesday nights, 9:30 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, whatever it may be, Himalaya app, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, whatever it is, Spotify. We appreciate you checking us out. Share us with a friend if you don't mind. Yeah, we'll keep forging on. We've got another show next week, and I know that Gabe, you've got some traveling coming up, and we'll be figuring out our schedule moving forward. But without further ado, as to not hold things up, take us home.
I think the only thing I want to say, well, two things, I guess, is that we do have a show next week, correct?
That is correct.
All right.
We do. Commissioner McGriff, what up?
Hey. take that as a guest. I apparently have to look at our group for whatever's next. Anyways, I heard a few mentions of have you gotten your SFB 9 invite yet? And some said yes, some said no. Apologies, in advance if you don't get one of those. It is a great thing to be a part of, but you can still be a part of it no matter what, because you can donate. Ultimately, what this is for, like, yes, it's for the community. It's all for us to have fun and be in a league together, but ultimately it is for this charity for Toys for Tots. And you're going to hear this all summer. You're going to hear this on every other podcast, but since the rollout's coming right now, let's get it going. Let's get it going now. I'm on the website right now, and I'm looking at previous years of donations: 2015, 1,500, 2016, 6,000, 2017, 15,000, and last year at $44,500, which is just fucking nuts. So, let's I don't know if that like exponential, I mean, Chris, my math guy over here, and me kind of understanding exponentials, if that can happen, bro, that is some nasty numbers.
Yeah.
To eclipse the 6 figures is a good goal to start with, but I think it can go beyond. So let's make it happen, man. It's all about these kids, Toys for Tots, and the community. So, anyways, hashtag SFB9. That's like literally all I want to say. FantasyCares.net. What do y'all say? Drinks up. Do a little cheersy do. Whether it's water, whether it's beer, whether it's clear. Have no fear, the open bar is here. And also, next week, we will be in your ears and eyes. And deuces.